The moment those words landed, Zhao Mengjie and Li Haoyang went stiff. Their faces drained, their legs almost gave out. Cold sweat broke out instantly. Zhao Mengjie never imagined the two middle-aged men in front of her were big shots in Jiang City. Top level, the kind you don't even get to meet unless you're in the right circles. And they came for Yang Luo? How could a barefoot doctor have that kind of pull? For the first time, regret hit them like a punch. If they offended these two, their lives in Jiang City were basically over. Even Yang Luo looked surprised. He glanced at the quiet middle-aged man and thought, so he's got this kind of background. After the introductions, Lu Hongtao slightly bent forward and said to Su Qingmei, "Eldest miss, your classmate has gone too far. Please have her apologize to Director Ren and Governor Luo." Zhao Mengjie froze. "And Manager Lu, what did you just call her?" Lu Hongtao frowned. "I called her Eldest Mississippi." "What's wrong with that?" "Eldest miss? Which eldest miss?" Zhao Mengjie asked blankly, like her brain couldn't catch up. Lu Hongtao's tone turned impatient. "You seriously don't know? This is the eldest daughter of the Su family, a first-rate family in Jiang City. This hotel belongs to the Su family." That sentence hit like thunder. Zhao Mengjie's face went pale. Her lips trembled as she forced out, "Manager Lu," then the private room at Wangjiang Pavilion, the expensive cigarettes and wine. "Wasn't that because of my boyfriend?" Lu Hongtao looked genuinely confused. "Your boyfriend? Who's that supposed to be?" Li Haoyang's cheeks burned. He lowered his head, voice small. I'm her boyfriend." Lu Hongtao actually laughed, but there was no warmth in it. "And who do you think you are? I'm not even acquainted with you." He stared at Zhao Mengjie. "If eldest Miss and Mr. Yang weren't here, do you think I would have invited you to the best private room? Do you think you'd be drinking good wine and smoking good cigarettes?" Zhao Mengjie's face turned red, then white again. She looked like she wanted the floor to swallow her. So that's what it was. It wasn't Li Haoyang being capable. It was Lu Hongtao trying to please Su Qingmei. And the worst part? Back in university, Su Qingmei lived like a normal student. Same food, same clothes, same habits. Zhao Mengjie had never once guessed she was the Su family's eldest daughter. The shame burned. Lu Hongtao waved his hand sharply. "Enough. Stop talking. Apologize to Director Ren and Governor Luo. Now." Su Qingmei sighed, voice calm but firm. "Mengjie, apologize. Ren Pingwei and Luo Zhongyue weren't people you could casually offend. Even the Su family would choose caution." Ren Pingwei looked at Yang Luo. "Divine Dr. Yang, if they're your friends, there's no need." "They're not my friends," Yang Luo cut in, expression cold. "They spoke out of line. They should apologize." Ren Pingwei understood immediately. Yang Luo wanted nothing to do with them. His face darkened. "You can offend me if you want, but you can't offend Brother Luo." Li Haoyang jolted like someone kicked him. He bowed deeply. "President Ren, Governor Luo." "I'm sorry." Zhao Mengjie bowed too, trembling. "I'm sorry. I was wrong." Ren Pingwei waved a hand, disgusted. "Go. I don't want to see you." It felt like an execution turned into a pardon. They didn't hesitate. They fled. Su Qingmei didn't stop them. After this, she could clearly see how much Zhao Mengjie had changed. There was no point forcing an old friendship that was already rotten. Once they were gone, the private room finally felt normal again. Ren Pingwei smiled at Yang Luo. "Divine Dr. Yang, little Meng is doing much better now. It's all thanks to you. Little Yun is looking after her." "That's good," Yang Luo replied with a nod. Luo Zhiyue studied Yang Luo with interest. "Young man, I didn't expect someone your age to have medical skills like that." "Not bad." Yang Luo looked at him for a few seconds, then his brows tightened. "Mr. Luo, your glabella is dark, your eyes lack spirit, and there's a heavy killing aura around you. I'm afraid your life is in danger." The smile on Luo Zhongyue's face froze. Ren Pinghui, Lu Hongtao, and Su Qingmei all went quiet, stunned. If they didn't know Yang Luo's ability, they would have thought he was making things up. Luo Zhongyue looked perfectly fine. Luo Zhongyue's expression turned displeased. "My health is excellent. What do you mean my life is in danger? Don't talk nonsense." Yang Luo didn't back off. His voice stayed serious. I'm not joking. In 3 days, the baleful aura in your body will begin corroding your organs, your meridians, even your limbs. He continued, clear and direct. You'll bleed from your mouth and nose. Dizziness, chest tightness, weakness. Within a week, it will spread through your entire body. At that point, you will die. Luo Zhongyue's face darkened immediately. Ridiculous. Trying to scare people with mystery talk. He pointed sharply. Brother Rin praised you as a divine doctor, so I wanted to meet you. But now, you don't look like a divine doctor at all. You look like a fraud. With that, he turned and stormed out. Yang Luo frowned and called after him. Mr. Luo, remember what I said. Come to me within a week and you can still be saved. His voice hardened. After a week, even if a god descends, it'll be too late. Luo Zhongyue only gave a cold snort and walked out. Brother Luo, Rin Pingwei hurried after him. Governor Luo. Lu Hongtao followed too. Su Qingmei looked at Yang Luo, conflicted. Are you sure? Can Governor Luo really not last more than a week? Yang Luo nodded. I'm sure. He will die within a week. Then he added calmly. But I already warned him. If he comes back in time, I can save him. Su Qingmei still couldn't fully believe it. Luo Zhongyue looked normal just now. She sighed. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Come on, let's go. Yang Luo nodded and followed her out. At the hotel entrance, a black Audi was waiting. Luo Zhongyue was just about to get in when Rin Pinghui rushed up. Brother Luo, Divine Dr. Yang's skills are real, Rin Pinghui insisted. He's cured people others couldn't. If he said that, there's a reason. Let him examine you properly. Lu Hongtao backed him up immediately. Director Run is right. Old Master Su was cured by Mr. Yang. I trust his medical skills. No way, Luo Zhongyue said coldly. That kid can fool ordinary people, but he thinks he can fool me? With that, he got into the car and left the hotel without looking back. Just then, Yang Luo and Su Qingmei walked out. He still doesn't believe me? Yang Luo asked, slightly surprised. Rin Pinghui let out a helpless sigh. Not even a little. Yang Luo didn't seem bothered. Give it 3 days. He'll believe me then. Rin Pinghui frowned. Divine Dr. Yang, is there really something wrong with Brother Luo? Yeah. Yang Luo nodded. There is. Rin Pinghui's expression turned serious. All right, I'll try to talk to him again later. After chatting a bit more, Yang Luo and Su Qingmei left. On the way home, Su Qingmei sat in the back seat, staring out the window like her thoughts were miles away. Yang Luo glanced at the rearview mirror. Qingmei, what are you thinking about? She turned her head slowly. It's only been a few years. How can someone change that much? Yang Luo smirked. You mean Zhao Mingjie? Su Qingmei nodded. Nostalgia and disappointment mixed in her eyes. She wasn't like that in university. She was kind, innocent. She never looked down on anyone, even classmates who were struggling. I thought this reunion would be nice. Her voice softened. I didn't expect it to turn out like this. Yang Luo said calmly, people change. Society is like dye. Once you soak in it long enough, you don't come out the same. Su Qingmei sighed. It just feels like a waste. We used to be such good friends. There's nothing to regret, Yang Luo replied. You two were never really from the same world. Different circles, different values. It was bound to happen. Su Qingmei didn't argue. She turned back to the window. Neon lights, passing cars, and crowds reflected in her eyes, but she looked distant, a little sad. Yang Luo stayed quiet and focused on driving. Not long after, he turned off the main road onto a quieter street. The car was about to pass an alleyway when Yang Luo's heart suddenly tightened. Danger! His instinct screamed. He stepped on the gas, yanked the steering wheel, then slammed the brakes. Screech! The car slid sideways, tires grinding violently against the road. Clang! A bullet skimmed past the roof, throwing sparks. Su Qingmei hadn't even processed what was happening. The sudden jolt sent her forward, and she bumped her forehead against the seat in front of her, instantly dizzy. When the car finally stopped, she held her head and looked around in panic. Yang Luo, what happened? Why did you stop like that? And what was that sound on the roof? Yang Luo didn't answer. His eyes were sharp now, cold and focused. He got out and crossed to the other side of the street. He crouched down and picked something up. Su Qingmei's unease spiked. She quickly got out too. Yang Luo walked back and pointed at the roof. Look, she stared. A long scratch ran across the roof, like it had been carved by something razor-sharp. Her voice shook. What is that? Yang Luo opened his palm. A blackened bullet sat there. Su Qingmei's face drained. A bullet? Yang Luo nodded. Sniper rifle round. Her whole body went cold. Someone try to kill us? Maybe they're here for me, Yang Luo said, eyes lifting toward the distant rooftops. He turned to her immediately. Qingmei, get back in the car. Lock the doors and windows. Don't move. Wait for me. Her eyes widened. What are you going to do? Yang Luo's voice was flat. Find him. Before she could say another word, he dashed into the alley and vanished into the night. Su Qingmei stood frozen for a second, then forced herself to follow his instructions. She got into the car, locked everything, and sat there gripping the seat, trying to breathe steadily. Inside the alley, Yang Luo exploded into motion. He kicked off the ground like a cannonball and landed on the roof of a 3-story building. Then he sprinted and jumped again, landing on a 10-story building more than 100 meters away. In the darkness, he moved like a predator, leaping rooftop to rooftop, leaving only afterimages behind. If it was a night, someone would have definitely seen it and lost their mind. 800 meters away, on the rooftop of a 20-story building, a burly Caucasian man dressed in black lowered his sniper rifle and cursed. F***CK. His name was Andrew. On the dark web, he was known as Bullet Shell, an international assassin. A few days ago, he'd seen a bounty for Yang Luo. $30 million US. Enough to make anyone greedy. He had tracked Yang Luo's routine, picked a spot, and waited for the perfect shot. But the target dodged a sniper round. Andrew's mouth tightened. If he stayed here, he'd risk being exposed. He shoved the rifle into a cello case and turned to leave. Then, bang! A heavy sound echoed from a distant rooftop. Andrew snapped his head up. His body stiffened. A figure stood on a rooftop about 100 meters away, straight and unmoving like a spear. Moonlight washed over him, giving him a faint glow. Andrew's eyes widened when he saw the face. Yang Luo. Impossible. A few minutes ago, Yang Luo was on the street 800 meters away, and the building across from him was over 30 floors. How'd he even get up there? Even an elevator wouldn't be that fast. Yang Luo's voice carried across the gap, calm and deadly. Found you. It wasn't loud, but to Andrew, it sounded like the whisper of death. Before the sound even faded, Yang Luo jumped. 80 meters. One leap. He landed smoothly on Andrew's rooftop, like it was nothing.
Hey everyone, Firescale Audiobooks here. If there's a novel you'd love to hear more of, you can support us on Patreon or Ko-fi. Depending on your tier, I'll make extra parts just for the stories you're most excited about. Usually I can only upload 4 to 5 parts of each novel, but with your support, we can go beyond that. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. It helps more than you know.
The scene in front of Andrew almost shocked his jaw off. This kid actually jumped from the top of a building 80 meters away. More importantly, the height difference between the two buildings was more than 30 meters. This kid fell from a height of more than 30 meters and was actually fine. Andrew, who had experienced many things in the underworld, immediately sensed danger. Therefore, without any hesitation, he took out a Colt from his waist and fired continuously at Yang Luo. Bullets streaked across the sky and whistled towards Yang Luo. However, just as the bullets shot over, Yang Luo mobilized the true qi in his body, and his entire body shook. In just a few seconds, a golden true qi barrier enveloped Yang Luo. Ding, ding, ding. The bullets hit the true qi barrier and made a crisp sound, as if they had hit an iron wall. What? Andrew exclaimed, and was about to continue firing. However, the moment Andrew fired, Yang Luo moved. The next second, bang! A dull sound of collision rang out. Ugh! Andrew felt like he had been hit by a train. He was sent flying and fell more than 10 meters away. The gun in his hand fell to the side. As for Yang Luo, He appeared where he was standing just now and slowly retracted his foot. Andrew clutched his chest and looked at Yang Luo in horror. He said in stiff Chinese with a trembling voice, "Are you a human or a ghost? What do you think?" Yang Luo smiled coldly and walked towards Andrew. "Go to hell." Andrew roared and flipped over. Enduring the pain in his chest, he pulled out a dagger and rushed towards Yang Luo. The moment he approached Yang Luo, Andrew waved the dagger in his hand and stabbed at Yang Luo's heart. Yang Luo raised his right hand and grabbed at the air. He grabbed the other party's wrist and squeezed hard. Crack! A crisp sound rang out. Ah! Andrew let out another scream. His wrist was broken in one go, causing him much pain. Then, Yang Luo kicked him again and sent him flying. Andrew was sent flying 10 meters away again. Several of his ribs were broken, and he gritted his teeth in pain. Ignoring the pain in his body, he reached out to pick up the gun that had fallen beside him. However, just as he reached out his hand, Yang Luo arrived in front of him and stepped on his palm. "Arg!" Andrew screamed miserably. The bones in his palm were all crushed, and blood flowed nonstop. Yang Luo looked down at Andrew and said in a low voice, "Tell me, who sent you to kill me?" Andrew's face was pale, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. He said with difficulty, "I don't know." "You don't." Yang Luo reached out with his right hand and grabbed Andrew's throat, lifting him up. The 5 fingers on his right hand kept retracting as he said coldly, "Are you going to tell me or not? If you don't, I'll kill you now." Andrew's face turned red and his breathing quickened. "I really didn't know. I accepted the bounty on the dark web. On the dark web, there are all anonymous bounties. No one knows who issued the bounties." Yang Luo could naturally tell that this guy was not lying. He frowned and asked, "What's a dark web?" Andrew said, "The dark web is a platform built by the dark world. All shady things exist on the dark web. On the dark web, there is nothing you can't think of and nothing the dark web cannot do. Bounty killing is just a business on the dark web." Yang Luo immediately fell silent. He did not expect such a platform to exist. What kind of place was the dark world? Also, who exactly wanted to kill him? The Jiang family, the Zhao family, the Liu family, and the people from the 4 major chambers of commerce? Andrew pleaded, "Sir, if you can spare my life, I can give you money." He really regretted his actions now. If he had known that the person the bounty wanted to kill was so terrifying, he would never have accepted this mission. A bounty of $30 million was far from enough for such a terrifying guy. He only hoped that he could use money to move Yang Luo and save his life. Seeing that Yang Luo was silent, Andrew continued, "Sir, I have a lot of money. I can give you $50 million. Yang Luo stared at Andrew coldly and said, "Not everything can be bought with money, including your life." Right after he finished his sentence, Yang Luo suddenly clenched the 5 fingers on his right hand. Crack! Andrew's neck was broken, and he stopped breathing. Yang Luo casually threw Andrew to the ground and mobilized his true qi to channel a golden true fire, burning him into a pool of blood. Yang Luo would not be merciful to those who wanted to kill him, especially a guy who specialized in killing for money. He had carried countless lives on his back. Therefore, Yang Luo did not feel any psychological burden killing such a person. Yang Luo stood on the rooftop and looked into the distance with a cold expression. Although he still did not know who wanted to kill him, one day, the other party would give himself away. Also, regarding the dark world that this guy mentioned just now, he would step into it one day to see what kind of place it was. Then, Yang Luo gently jumped onto a building opposite. Then, his figure flashed and disappeared into the night. At the same time, in a car on the side of the street, 800 meters away, Su Qingmei sat in the car, her heart beating fast with nervousness. She never expected to encounter a sniper on the way back. One had to know that this was something that only happened in movies and television dramas. But now, it had actually happened in the real world. Yang Luo had gone to look for that sniper now. She did not know if Yang Luo would be in danger. Not long after, knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the car window. She was shocked and quickly looked out of the window. She saw Yang Luo grinning at her. She heaved a sigh of relief and unlocked the car. Yang Luo opened the car door and got in. Yang Luo, have you found that sniper? Su Qingmei hurriedly asked. Yang Luo said helplessly, sigh, it's a pity that guy escaped. He did not want to tell Su Qingmei what had just happened. If the woman knew that he had killed someone, she would probably be shocked. Su Qingmei didn't think too much about it and asked, did someone really want to kill you? I think so. Yang Luo nodded in reply. Who's trying to kill you? Su Qingmei asked worriedly. I'm not sure now. Yang Luo shook his head and continued. However, it's fine. One day I'll find that guy. Seeing that the worry on Su Qingmei's face had yet to dissipate, Yang Luo smiled and comforted her. All right, don't worry. In Jiang City, the person who can kill me hasn't been born yet. Come, let's go home. It was 11 o'clock at night. Dragon Bay Manor. The hall was brightly lit. Jiang Tianlong sat in the main seat with a dark expression. There were 3 people sitting on either side of him, 2 men and a woman. Master Long, why did you call us over tonight? A middle-aged man with short hair and a tuft of white hair on his forehead asked Jiang Tianlong. This middle-aged man was the president of the Southern Sky Chamber of Commerce, Su Yaoqiang. That's right, Master Long. It's getting late. If you have something to say, say it. A fat middle-aged man with a bald head and a fierce face added. This middle-aged man was the president of the Northern Rising Chamber of Commerce, Feng Haidong. Jiang Tianlong said in a low voice, I invited everyone here tonight to discuss how to deal with Yang Luo. That kid is a thorn in my heart. If I don't get rid of him, I won't be at ease. Feng Haidong waved his hand and said, Hey, what's so difficult about that? Let's each send a few capable men to take action. That kid will definitely die. That's right. No matter how good that kid is at fighting, he's just one person. Su Yaoqiang continued. In any case, I don't believe that Brat is a Grandmaster Realm expert. If that kid is really so easy to get rid of, one wouldn't have invited everyone here. Jiang Tianlong shook his head and said. Then, he looked at the young woman who had not spoken. He narrowed his eyes and asked, Sister Zhong, what do you think? The woman Jiang Tianlong, called Sister Zhong, was the president of the West Wind Chamber of Commerce, Zhong Lingyun. Su Yaoqiang and Feng Haidong also turned to look at Zhong Lingyun. Usually, this woman was always noisy, but today, she was exceptionally quiet. This made them very puzzled. Zhong Lingyun said, I'll do whatever Master Long arranges. Jiang Tianlong chuckled and said, Looks like you've also been beaten into submission by that kid, Sister Zhong. Hearing this, Su Yaoqiang and Feng Haidong were stunned. Master Long, what do you mean? Feng Haidong pursed his lips and asked. Jiang Tianlong did not answer Feng Haidong. Instead, he stared intently at Zhong Lingyun and said, Sister Zhong, I heard that you've also met that kid in the past 2 days. You seem to want to rope him in, right? Oh, Feng Haidong was stunned. Sister Zhong, you've met that kid too? Su Yaoqiang frowned and said, Sister Zhong, what you did was not right. We agreed to deal with that kid together, but you met that kid and wanted to rope him in. If that kid finds out that we're going to deal with him and increases his vigilance, our plan will probably be ruined. Seeing that Jiang Tianlong had put it out in the open, Zhong Lingyun readily admitted it. Master Long, you're right. I've indeed met that kid. I didn't want to rope that kid in, but that kid was unwilling. After that, I fought that kid, but I was not his match at all. I was defeated in a single move. What? You can't even withstand one move? Damn, is that kid really that powerful? Su Yaoqiang and Feng Haidong were dumbfounded, their eyes filled with shock. Previously, when Jiang Tianlong said that he was not that kid's match, they were still skeptical of it. But now that Zhong Lingyun had said so, they had no choice but to believe her. Zhong Lingyun nodded and said, I'm sure that kid is definitely a Grandmaster Realm expert. None of us are his match. Old Su, Old Feng, you guys have never interacted with that kid before. Naturally, you don't know how powerful that kid is. This is very normal. Jiang Tianlong said to Su Yaoqiang and Feng Haidong, then looked at Zhong Lingyun and said, Sister Zhong, that kid is arrogant and won't submit to anyone. Give up. Zhong Lingyun nodded and said, That's why I won't agree with Master Long's suggestion to get rid of that kid. Jiang Tianlong nodded and said, That kid is very strong. He's very likely a Grandmaster Realm expert. If we want to get rid of him, We have to kill him in one strike and not give him any chance to catch his breath. Therefore, my suggestion is that our 4 organizations send out all our elites to kill that kid in one go. All right, let's do that. I agree with this suggestion. I concur too. Su Yaoqiang, Feng Haidong, and Zhong Lingyu nodded in agreement. Jiang Tianlong said, of course, other than sending out elites, it's probably not enough. Therefore, I even invited an expert on the Earth ranking to help. Earthly ranking expert? Hearing this, Su Yaoqiang, Feng Haidong, and Zhong Lingyun were shocked. Because they were all martial warriors, they knew that there were 2 martial arts rankings in China, the Earth ranking and the Heaven ranking. Those who could be ranked on these 2 lists were all powerhouses in the Chinese martial arts world. There were 72 people on the Earth list and 36th on the Heaven list. Just the experts on the Earth ranking were Ale Grandmaster realm experts. Some of them who were ranked at the top of the Earth ranking had even stepped into the Martial Highness realm. As for the Heaven ranking, there was no need to mention it. The weakest was at the Martial Highness realm. That's right. Jiang Tianlong nodded and said, this Earth ranking expert happened to come to Jiang City to do something, so I invited him over. Master Long, which Earth ranking expert did you invite? Feng Haidong hurriedly asked. Sleeveblade, Xia Ziyuan. Jiang Tianlong replied and said loudly, Elder Xia, please. His voice trailed off. An old man, about 1.7 meters tall, walked in step by step. He was wearing a black cloth robe and had long silver-gray hair. However, this old man gave off an ordinary feeling, causing Su Yaoqiang and the other 2 to be skeptical. Was this old man really the Earth ranking expert, Sleeveblade Xia Ziyuan? Soon, the old man walked into the hall. He placed his hands behind his back and looked at Jiang Tianlong proudly. He said indifferently, Jiang Tianlong, I'm only willing to help you this once on account of King Zhenan. Otherwise, do you think you can hire me with just 50 million? You're right. With Elder Xia's status, even if one had money, they would not be able to hire him. This Junior Jiang here, thanks you for giving me face. Jiang Tianlong cupped his hands as he bootlicked him. Xia Ziyuan nodded, very pleased. Then he said, Jiang Tianlong, I alone am enough to kill that kid. You don't have to attack, lest you become my burden. Hearing this, Su Yaoqiang, Feng Haidong, and Zhong Lingyun were a little unhappy. This old man was clearly looking down on them. Zhong Lingyun picked up a cup of tea and asked, Are you really the Sleeveblade Xia Ziyuan, who is ranked 62nd on the Earth ranking? Of course. Xia Ziyuan then glanced at Zhong Lingyun. You don't believe me? How can that be? Since Master Long has already said so, how can I not believe you? Zhong Lingyun smiled. Elder Xia is an honored guest. Please have some tea. Her voice had yet to fade. Zhong Lingyun mobilized all the strength in her body to her right arm, and then her wrist shook violently. Swoosh! The teacup flew out of her hand and spun towards the old man at high speed. The old man stood on the spot and did not even look at her. He only waved his right hand gently. In an instant, swoosh! A golden dagger as thick as an index finger shot out from his sleeve. The short knife streaked across the sky, flashing with a dazzling golden light. The next second, bam! The golden dagger shattered the incoming teacup. After shattering the teacup, the golden short knife passed through the splashing tea and flew past Zhong Lingyun's head. With a thud, it was heavily nailed to a wall in the distance. A strand of beautiful hair fell from Zhong Lingyun's head, causing her to break out in a cold sweat. Right at this moment, Elder Xia, please have some tea. Su Yaoqiang and Feng Haidong shouted at the same time and threw out the teacup in their hands. The 2 teacups spun at high speed and whistled towards the old man. Moreover, just as the teacups whistled out, Su Yaoqiang and Feng Haidong stood up at the same time and rushed toward the old man. The old man's lips curled up into a cold smile. He remained standing on the same spot, simply raising his hands behind his back and waving them casually. The next instant, whoosh, whoosh, 2 golden daggers shot out from his sleeves, as if 2 golden lightning bolts had streaked across the air. The next second, boom, boom, boom. The 2 golden daggers shattered the 2 teacups at the same time and whistled past Su Yaoqiang and Feng Haidong's necks. Tack! Tack! The two golden daggers were nailed heavily to the other wall. Su Yaoqiang and Feng Haidong touched their necks at the same time. Their necks had already been cut open, and blood was flowing out. The two of them trembled and were shocked. If this old man had wanted to kill them just now, they would have died long ago. At this moment, be it Su Yaoqiang, Feng Haidong, or Zhong Lingyun, they all completely believed that the old man in front of them was the legendary expert of the earth ranking, Sleeve Blade Xia Ziyuan. Greetings, Elder Xia. Su Yaoqiang, Feng Haidong, and Zhong Lingyun had respectful expressions as they cupped their hands at Xia Ziyuan. Xia Ziyuan only smiled faintly and waved his hands. The three golden daggers nailed to the wall left the wall and returned back into his sleeve. Ha ha! Jiang Tianlong laughed out loud and strode over. Elder Xia, don't mind them. Old Su and the others just want to spar with you and obtain your guidance. Xia Ziyuan said indifferently, it's all right. If young people want to seek guidance, this old man will naturally give them some pointers. Jiang Tianlong nodded and said with a smile, with Elder Xia around, Yang Luo is dead meat. Leave it to me, Xia Ziyuan said. Su Yaoqiang and Feng Haidong were also excited. With Elder Xia and the elites they sent out, even if that kid had 3 heads and 6 arms, he would definitely die. When do we do it? Xia Ziyuan asked. In 3 days. Jiang Tianlong replied. In 3 days, we will send our strongest elites to assist old Xia in killing that kid. Xia Ziyuan said unhappily, didn't I say that I alone am enough? Jiang Tianlong chuckled and said, Elder Xia, with your status, how can you attack so easily? If our people are really not a match, it won't be too late for you to attack. Xia Ziyuan nodded and said, all right, we'll do as you say. All right. Jiang Tianlong nodded heavily and heaved a sigh of relief. He could finally get rid of that huge problem. Meanwhile, Zhong Lingyun sighed in her heart. Yang Luo, oh Yang Luo, if you had agreed to work for me, you wouldn't have attracted this fatal disaster. With an expert on the Earth ranking taking action this time, would you be able to survive? In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. Early in the morning, Imperial River Court Villa No. 8. Yang Luo, Su Qingmei, Qin Yimo, and Wu Yu were having breakfast. Su Qingmei took a sip of milk and said to Qin Yimo, Momo, it's the weekend today. Why don't we go shopping with you? Qin Yimo shook her head and said, Qingmei, there's no need to trouble yourself. You could go to your own things. I'm fine at home. How can you stay at home every day? You have to go out more. Su Qingmei shook her head and said, it's just as well. I've been busy for so long and want to give myself a break. So, Momo, can you accompany me? All right then. Qin Yimo nodded in agreement. Su Qingmei turned to look at Yang Luo and said, Yang Luo, I'll leave the bag carrying to you today. Yang Luo grinned and said, I'm very happy to serve you beauties. After breakfast, Yang Luo performed another acupuncture on Qin Yimo before driving the Mercedes-Benz G out of the garage. After that, Yang Luo helped carry Qin Yimo into the car. Then, he folded the wheelchair and placed it in the trunk. However, just as Su Qingmei was about to get into the car, a call suddenly came to her phone. Su Qingmei walked to the side and answered the call. After answering the call, Su Qingmei said helplessly, Momo, the company called just now. There's an urgent matter for me to deal with. I'm afraid one can't go shopping with you. Qin Yimo said, it's fine. Just go do your own thing. Su Qingmei said to Yang Luo, Yang Luo, you'll accompany Momo shopping today. Remember to protect Momo well. Yang Luo patted his chest and said, don't worry. With me around, Miss Qin's safety will definitely be guaranteed. Su Qingmei nodded and said to Qin Yimo, Momo, if there's anything, just order this guy around. You're welcome. All right. Qin Yimo smiled and nodded. Su Qingmei gave a few more instructions before driving the Maserati president out of the villa. Yang Luo also got into the Mercedes-Benz G and asked Qin Yimo, Miss Qin, where are we going to shop? Qin Yimo said, let's go to the New World Mall. All right. Yang Luo nodded and turned on the GPS. He started the car and went straight to the New World Mall. An hour later, they arrived at the New World Mall. After parking the car, Yang Luo pushed the wheelchair and Wu Yu followed him into the mall. As one of the largest shopping malls in Jiang City, the New World Mall could be said to have all kinds of food, drinks, and fun. What's more, you could find all kinds of luxury brand stores in the world. Along the way, many people looked at him and pointed at him. This girl is pretty. She's simply impeccable. It's a pity that she's handicapped. Isn't that so? Such a beautiful woman is sitting in a wheelchair. What a waste. So what if she's disabled? It will be quite pleasing to the eye to have her at home. Qin Yimo was already used to everyone's different gazes and discussions, so she did not think much of it. However, Yang Luo was unhappy. Yang Luo glanced at them and snorted. What are you looking at? Hurry up and get lost. Fisk, what's there to be proud of with a disabled girlfriend? That's right, she looks good but is useless. Everyone mocked and cursed. Yang Luo was about to continue speaking when Qin Yimo tugged at Yang Luo's clothes and forced a smile. Mr. Yang, it's okay. If they want to say something, let them say it. Sigh. Yang Luo sighed softly and said, Miss Qin, don't worry. You'll be able to stand up in less than a week. At that time, you will definitely stun everyone. Wu Yu also said, Eldest miss, on the day you stand up again, those people who once mocked and looked down on you will definitely have their jaws drop. Yes. Qin Yimo nodded heavily, and a hint of anticipation appeared in her eyes. Although Qin Yimo said that she didn't want to shop, she was very happy when she arrived at the mall and bought a lot of things. Moreover, Qin Yimo had also bought a few sets of luxury brand clothes for Yang Luo, saying that it was to thank him for treating her. Yang Luo was very helpless and could only accept the woman's good intentions. After shopping for a while, Yang Luo pushed Qin Yimo to a clothing store DKNY. Although this brand was a luxury brand, it was not ostentatious and was very suitable for Qin Yimo's style. Under the salesgirl's introduction, Qin Yimo chose a sky blue dress. Then, Wu Yu pushed Qin Yimo into the fitting room. After a while, Wu Yu pushed Qin Yimo out in her new outfit. It's so beautiful. This dress seems to be tailor-made for this lady. A sales lady could not help but exclaim. Another salesgirl also said, That's right. This dress is too compatible with this lady's temperament. They simply complement each other. If this lady can stand up, she can even be a model in our fashion shop. However, the saleswoman suddenly realized something and quickly shut her mouth. Qin Yimo did not mind. Instead, she looked at Yang Luo and asked, Mr. Yang, do I look good in this dress? It's beautiful. This dress suits you very well. Yang Luo nodded in reply. In Yang Luo's opinion, Qin Yimo's temperament and looks were top-notch. Only Su Qingmei and Su Wanqiu could compare to her. Qin Yimo was very happy. She said to the salesgirl, Wrap this dress up. I'll look at the others. All right. The salesperson nodded repeatedly and quickly went to pack. After that, Qin Yimo picked out a few more dresses of different styles. After buying a few, she walked out of the store. Yang Luo wanted to relieve himself, so he said to Qin Yimo, Miss Qin, I'm going to the washroom. Wait for me for a while. All right. Qin Yimo nodded obediently. Soon, Yang Luo left. Alas, just when Yang Luo left, Yo, isn't this the crippled eldest daughter of the Qin family? Suddenly, a snide voice sounded. Qin Yimo and Wu Yu looked up and saw a group of women walking over. The woman in the lead was wearing an LV dress and a diamond necklace. Although her figure was not bad, her looks could only be considered average. The women behind him were also wearing luxurious branded clothes. All of them were dressed in jewelry and had arrogant expressions. Qin Yimo looked at the woman in the lead and frowned. She said to Wu Yu, let's go. Wu Yu nodded and pushed Qin Yimo away. However, the woman in the lead blocked Qin Yimo's path. Qin Yimo asked in a deep voice, He Yilin, what exactly do you want? Hence, the woman in front of him was the eldest daughter of the He family, another first-rate family in Jiang City, He Yilin. Back then, He Yilin fell in love with Song Chengyu, the eldest son of the Song family. However, Song Chengyu fell in love with Qin Yimo and even came to propose marriage. If Qin Yimo had not contracted muscle atrophy and could only sit in a wheelchair, Song Chengyu and Qin Yimo might really be engaged. It was also because of this that He Yilin hated Qin Yimo. He Yilin smiled and said, "Nothing much. Can I say hello to an old friend?" "We're not friends," Qin Yimo replied coldly. He Yilin mocked, "Qin Yimo, do you still think you're the favored daughter of the Qin family? Do you still think everyone wants to revolve around you? The current you is just a cripple who could only sit in a wheelchair, a pitiful clown. To think a cripple even came to buy clothes. Who's she wearing them for? You can't even stand up. Isn't it useless to buy it?" The few rich young ladies behind her also mockingly laughed. "Tell me, why did our Miss Qin buy so many beautiful clothes? Could it be that she wants to seduce men? Hee hee, which man would like someone like her? That's hard to say. Some perverts like good-looking people who are physically disabled." The few rich young ladies spoke one after another, mocking and ridiculing her. In the past, Qin Yimo was so dazzling that they could not raise their heads. The young masters of the various wealthy families either surrounded Su Qingmei or Qin Yimo. Naturally, the other girls were green with envy. Now that they finally had a chance to take revenge, they naturally did not want to miss this opportunity. Qin Yimo stared at He Yilin angrily. "Miss Qin, don't glare at me like that. I'm so scared." He Yilin pretended to be afraid and patted her chest. Then she sneered, "Qin Yimo, I know you're very angry now, but so what? Could it be that you can still hit me?" As she spoke, she leaned closer and said with a smile, "Come, stand up and hit me if you dare." Qin Yimo clenched her fists so tightly that her nails dug into her flesh and her eyes turned red. "Io, Miss Qin, are you going to cry? How pitiful." He Yilin smiled even more smugly. "A slut like you only knows how to pretend to be pitiful and gain the sympathy of men. Sister He, this is her method. She relied on this to attract men. That's right. Bitches are so pretentious. They can't take it anymore after saying a few words." A few rich young ladies chimed in. Wu Yu, who was standing at the side, could not stand it anymore. She looked at He Yilin and gritted her teeth. "Miss He, you've gone too far. Please apologize to eldest Mississippi." He Yilin looked at Wu Yu coldly. The master didn't even say anything. "How did her dog jump out? Do you think you have the right to talk to me? And you even think you have the right to make me apologize? Who do you think you are?" Right after she finished his sentence, He Yilin slapped Wu Yu hard on the face. "Arg!" Wu Yu cried out in pain and was beaten to the ground. 5 clear finger marks appeared on her face. "Wu Yu!" Qin Yimo exclaimed and turned around to shout at He Yilin. "He Yilin, how dare you hit her? What's wrong with me hitting someone?" He Yilin crossed her arms and said arrogantly, "Your dog is disobedient and should be taught a lesson." "You?" Qin Yimo glared at He Yilin angrily. "He Yilin, I won't let you off." "You won't let me off?" He Yilin laughed out loud at her threat. "What can a cripple like you do to me?" As she spoke, He Yilin reached out and lifted the armrest of the wheelchair. "Ah!" Qin Yimo screamed and fell to the ground. Her head hit the ground and became red and swollen. "Young miss!" Wu Yu shouted and quickly ran over to help Qin Yimo up. He Yilin said sarcastically, "Io, Miss Qin, what's wrong with you? You can't. You even sit properly in a wheelchair. Why would a cripple like you come out and embarrass yourself? Isn't it good to just lie in bed? If you're disabled, you have to have the mentality of a cripple. It said that muscle atrophy can kill people. How terrifying. This is her retribution for seducing men. She deserves it." A few rich young ladies chimed in. Qin Yimo sat on the ground, unable to hold back the tears in her eyes anymore. The pain in her body was nothing, but every time He Yilin and the others called her crippled, it was like a steel needle stabbing her heart, making her feel very uncomfortable. Wu Yu, who was at the side, did not dare to make a sound. Tears flowed down her face. At this moment, the onlookers could not stand it anymore and criticized them. "You women are too much. Do you even bully disabled people? Stop talking. These women look very rich. We can't afford to offend them. So what if you have money? Can you do whatever you want with money?" He Yilin placed her hands on her hips and shouted coldly when she heard everyone's condemnation. "What right do you lowly people have to speak? Who I bully has nothing to do with you. Get lost. Otherwise," right before she finished his sentence, a figure suddenly whistled over from afar. The next second, "Arg!" He Yilin felt a sharp pain in her abdomen and screamed as she flew out. Sister he. The few rich ladies were shocked and quickly ran over. Yang Luo was standing in front of Qin Yimo, looking at He Yilin coldly with killing intent. When he came out of the bathroom, he saw He Yilin bullying Qin Yimo. He was so angry that he came up and kicked He Yilin. Yang Luo took a deep breath and tried his best to suppress the anger in his heart. He turned around and set the wheelchair back upright. Then he carried Qin Yimo and placed her back on the wheelchair. He looked at the wound on Qin Yimo's forehead and the finger marks on Wu Yu's face. He could no longer suppress the anger in his heart. Who kicked me just now? Get out here. At this moment, He Yilin roared crazily and strode towards Yang Luo. I kicked you. Yang Luo turned around and stated. You. He Yilin's expression was ferocious as she said ruthlessly, You dog, you're just the live-in son-in-law of the Su family. How dare you attack me? Do you know who I am? I'm the eldest daughter of the He family. Yang Luo said coldly, I don't care who you are. Hurry up and apologize to Miss Qin and Assistant Wu. Apologize? Apologize my ass. He Yilin looked at Yang Luo arrogantly and said, I'm not apologizing. What are you going to do? If you have the ability, hit me again. I'll lend you 100 guts. Do you dare to hit me? Pa! Yang Luo directly replied with a slap to He Yilin's face. He Yilin cried out in pain as she staggered a few steps back. She said in disbelief, You really dare to hit me? Yang Luo said in a low voice, I originally wouldn't hit a woman, but a woman. Like you can't be called a woman at all. You're not even worthy of being a human. Well said. This woman is not a good person. She deserves to be beaten. Many onlookers chimed in, feeling as though they had a burden lifted off. Oh, I'll kill you. He Yilin screamed, picked up her bag, and moved to hit Yang Luo with it. Pa! But before He Yilin could get close, Yang Luo slapped her again. Aya! He Yilin screamed and was sent flying. She fell to the ground, and her face swelled up. A lot. He Yilin screamed and roared. Bastard, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. He Yilin took out her phone and made a call. After the call, He Yilin put away her cell phone and said hatefully, Bastard, don't leave if you have the ability. My brother will be here soon. Yang Luo had a calm expression as he sneered and said, Don't worry, I won't. Leave before you apologize. Not long after, Lin Lin, a voice came from afar. A group of people strode over. The leader was a thin and tall young man wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. This young man was the young master of the He family, He Jiahao. A hunchbacked old man and a group of bodyguards in black followed closely behind. Brother. He Yilin quickly went up to him and said with snot and tears, Brother, that dog. Hit me. Kill him quickly. He Jiahao looked at He Yilin's swollen face, and his expression darkened. He walked towards Yang Luo with an arrogant expression and said in a low voice, Apologize to my sister quickly. In his opinion, although Yang Luo's medical skills were not bad and his fighting skills were not bad, he was still the live-in son-in-law of the Su family. As for him, he was the eldest young master of the He family, a first-rate family in Jiang City. Yang Luo met He Jiahao's gaze and said, Young master He, are you going to ask me why one hit your sister? He Jiahao said coldly, One don't care what reason it is. You have to apologize to my sister. Brother, you can't just let him off with an apology. You have to break his limbs. He Yilin said viciously. He Jiahao nodded and looked at Yang Luo. Kid, as long as you apologize to my sister and let me break one of your hands and legs, I'll let you off. As expected, birds of a feather flocked together. Yang Luo was so angry that he laughed. Your sister can bully Miss Qin and hit Assistant Wu, but I can't hit your sister? Of course not. He Jiahao adjusted his glasses and said, You're just a live-in son-in-law. You can't compare to my sister at all. Yang Luo's smile faded and he said, What if I don't apologize? Are you sure you don't want to apologize? He Jiahao's expression turned completely cold. After he found out that his brother, Jiang Mingyu, had his hand and leg crippled by Yang Luo, he wanted to meet Yang Luo. Now that he had finally found an opportunity, he naturally had to avenge his brother. It's your sister who should apologize, not me. Yang Luo shook his head. He Jiahao waved his hand, crippled his kid's arm and leg. A few bodyguards in black moved and rushed towards Yang Luo. A bunch of trash wants to cripple me. Yang Luo smiled disdainfully and took a step forward. A terrifying wave of air surged out of his body. Bang, bang, bang. Before the bodyguard in black could approach, they were sent flying by the airwave. Seeing this scene, the surrounding crowd was stunned. F***, this brother is too powerful. He hasn't even made a move, and those guys have already flown away. He's too awesome. He's simply like a martial arts expert. Everyone exclaimed, their eyes filled with shock. Elder Luo cripple him. He Jiahao's expression changed drastically, and he immediately shouted at the hunchbacked old man behind him. This hunchbacked old man was a bodyguard arranged by his family. His name was Luo Changfeng, and his nickname was Camel. He was a true martial artist, and his cultivation was at the early stage, Khanate realm. Yes, young master, Luo Changfeng responded. Then his figure flashed, leaving an afterimage as he rushed towards Yang Luo. Although Luo Changfeng was not tall and had a hunched back, he had a strong aura that made the onlookers feel a terrifying pressure. In an instant, Luo Changfeng flew more than 10 meters and raised his right hand. He clenched his claws and grabbed at Yang Luo's chest. With a swipe of his claw, the sound of a sonic boom resounded, as if it had torn the air apart. Therefore, Luo Changfeng was using the eagle claw technique. It was extremely fierce and vicious. Eagle claw technique? Yang Luo chuckled. You dare to embarrass yourself with such little skills? As he spoke, Yang Luo raised his right arm and punched forward. Bam! The fist and claw collided heavily, emitting a muffled thunder explosion that shook everyone's eardrums. The next second, crack! The crisp sound of bones cracking resounded. Luo Changfeng's right hand was lacerated and all 5 fingers were broken. Blood flowed uncontrollably. Ugh! With a scream, Luo Changfeng was sent flying and fell heavily beside He Jiahao. Elder Luo. He Jiahao was shocked and quickly helped Luo Changfeng up. Luo Changfeng stood up. His entire right arm was trembling. He looked at Yang Luo in horror and said in a low voice, Young master, this kid is too terrifying. I'm not his match. Hurry up and leave. One had to know that he was a true Khanate realm martial warrior, but he could not even withstand a single move from this kid. This was enough to prove that this kid's cultivation level was definitely higher than his. All right. Although He Jiahao was unwilling, he could only nod and agree. Let's go. He Jiahao waved his hand and prepared to leave with his men. Although He Yilin really wanted to kill Yang Luo, she did not dare to speak after seeing that even Elder Luo was injured by Yang Luo. She knew how powerful Elder Luo was. It was not a problem for him to fight 100 people alone, but now he could not even withstand a single move from this guy. This was really terrifying. Who allowed you to leave? But just as they turned around, Yang Luo's voice sounded. He Jiahao gritted his teeth and turned around. What do you want? Yang Luo pointed at He Yilin and said in a trembling voice, Let this woman apologize to Miss Qin and Assistant Wu. Kid, don't go too far. He Jiahao roared angrily. Is it too much to just apologize? Yang Luo said indifferently, If you're unwilling, I'll make a move directly. With that, Yang Luo walked towards He Yilin. Brother, help me. He Yilin was so frightened that her entire body was trembling. Lin Lin, apologize quickly. He Jiahao suppressed the anger in his heart and could only say this to his sister. Brother, apologize. He Jiahao shouted. He Yilin swallowed and turned to look at Qin Yimo and Wu Yu. Miss Qin, Assistant Wu, I'm sorry. Yang Luo said in a low voice. Haven't you eaten? Your voice is too soft. I'm sorry. He Yilin raised her voice. Get lost. Yang Luo waved his hand, his face filled with disgust. He Yilin looked at Yang Luo venomously and said, Bastard, I won't let you off so easily. With that, He Yilin followed He Jiahao and prepared to leave. However, the moment she turned around, Yang Luo's eyes turned cold. He mobilized the true qi in his body and secretly injected 2 streams of true qi into He Yilan's legs with his right hand, destroying the meridians in her legs. Since this woman mocked others for being disabled, then let her be a disabled person for the rest of her life. In less than a few seconds, He Yilan suddenly felt her legs go weak, and she fell to the ground. "What now?" He Jiahao asked in frustration. He Yilan said fearfully, "Brother, why do one suddenly feel that one can't feel anything in my legs, and I can't use any strength? Kid, did you do this?" He Jiahao turned around and asked Yang Luo. Yang Luo said in amusement, "What did I do? Which eye of yours saw me do it? Brother, one can't stand up. Hurry up and take me to the hospital." He Yilan screamed in fear. "Just you wait." He Jiahao waved his hand and said, "Let's go to the hospital." Soon, a bodyguard carried He Yilan on his back and left the mall with He Jiahao. After He Jiahao and the others left, Yang Luo walked towards Qin Yimo and Wu Yu. "Mr. Yang, what happened to He Yilan just now? Why did she suddenly fall? Can't she feel her legs anymore?" Qin Yimo asked in confusion. "Who knows?" Yang Luo shrugged and said, "One think that woman has done too many bad things and suffered retribution." Qin Yimo also guessed that Yang Luo must have done something, but she did not say anything. Instead, she thanked him. "Thank you, A.R. Yang." "Thank you, Mr. Yang." Wu Yu also chimed in. "All right, there's no need to thank me. One promised Qing Mei that I would protect you guys well." Yang Luo waved his hand and said, "It's already noon. Let's go. We'll find a place to eat and treat your injuries." "All right." Qin Yimo nodded obediently. At the same time, Mountain Viewing Villa, Villa number 6. At this moment, in the study on the 2nd floor of the villa, Luo Zhongyue, who was wearing casual clothes, was sitting at the desk reading the newspaper. "Knock, knock, knock." At this moment, there was a knock on the door. "Come in," Luo Zhongyue replied. A beautiful woman in a white silk cheongsam walked in slowly. This woman was Luo Zhongyue's wife, Zhang Xiuqin. Zhang Xiuqin said, "Old Luo, stop looking. It's time to eat." "All right." Luo Zhongyue nodded, then put down the newspaper and prepared to get up. However, the moment he stood up, he suddenly felt the world spin. Right on the heels of that, he felt a pain in his chest. "Arg!" Luo Zhongyue clutched his chest and let out a painful cry. "Old Luo, what's wrong?" Zhang Xiuqin exclaimed and quickly ran over. But just as she approached, Luo Zhongyue spat out a mouthful of blood. Moreover, other than blood spurting out of his mouth, blood was also flowing out of his nostrils. Blood splattered all over the table and carpet, splattering on Zhang Xiuqin's body. "Arg!" Zhang Xiuqin screamed and shouted outside, Someone help." Soon, the servants in the villa rushed upstairs and rushed into the study. When they saw the scene in the study, the servants were shocked. Zhang Xiuqin shouted, "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and carry old Luo into the room." The servants did not dare to hesitate. They quickly carried Luo Zhongyue out of the study and into the room next door. At this moment, Luo Zhongyue was lying on the bed. His breathing was rapid and his face was pale. Blood was still flowing from his mouth and nose, and he looked very painful. A few servants were flustered and listless. They quickly brought over some water and wiped the blood off Luo Zhongyue's face. Zhang Xiuqin quickly called Luo Zhongyue's private doctor and asked him to rush over. After the call, Zhang Xiuqin came to the bed and held Luo Zhongyue's hand tightly. Her eyes were red as she said with a sobbing tone, "Old Luo, don't scare me. What's wrong with you? Weren't you fine this morning? Why did you suddenly become like this?" Luo Zhongyue opened his mouth and said weakly, I don't know either." Zhang Xiuqin wiped the corners of her eyes and said, all right. Don't talk too much. Rest well. Dr. Wu will be here soon." Not long after, a few doctors in white coats walked in with medicine boxes. The leader was a middle-aged man wearing silver-rimmed glasses. He was Luo Zhongyue's private doctor, Wu Jinping. His medical skills were very good. Usually, he specially nursed Luo Zhongyue's body. Whatever headaches and fever Luo Zhongyue had, it was all cured by Wu Jinping. Zhang Xiuqin quickly went up to him. Dr. Wu, you're finally here. Hurry up and take a look at old Luo. What's wrong with him? Wu Jinping nodded and said, Madam, don't worry. I'll check on Mr. Luo now. As he spoke, Wu Jinping and a few doctors took out instruments and began to examine Luo Zhongyue's body. After the examination, Wu Jinping and the doctors frowned. Dr. Wu, what's wrong with old Luo? Is he sick? Zhang Xiuqin hurriedly asked. Wu Jinping frowned and said, Madam, Mr. Luo isn't sick at all. Oh, Zhang Xiuqin was stunned. Since he's not sick, why did old Luo suddenly become like this? That's why I find it strange. Wu Jinping shook his head and continued. Although Mr. Luo is not sick, his vital signs are rapidly decreasing. This is really unbelievable, Zhang Xiuqin said. Then why don't we quickly go to the hospital for a checkup? Wu Jinping said. Even if we go to the hospital, the results will definitely be the same. If we can't find the illness, there's no way to treat it. What should we do? Zhang Xiuqin was so anxious that tears flowed down her face. At this moment, Luo Zhongyue also heard the conversation between Wu Jinping and Zhang Xiuqin. He suddenly recalled what Yang Luo had said to him 3 days ago at the Cloud Peak Hotel. Yang Luo said that he was surrounded by a baleful aura. He also said that in 3 days, half of his internal organs, limbs, and extraordinary meridians would be corroded by the baleful aura. At that time, his mouth and nose would bleed, his head would be dizzy, his chest would feel stuffy, and his breathing would be short. His limbs would be weak. And now his condition was all in line with what that kid said. Could it be that what that kid said was true? Was he really engulfed by a baleful aura? Therefore, he endured the pain in his body and shouted, Xiuqin, old Luo, what's wrong? Zhang Xiuqin quickly ran over. Luo Zhongyue took a deep breath and said, Xiuqin, my cell phone is in the study. Hurry up and call a young man called Yang Luo and ask him to come over. In the past 2 days, Ren Pingwei had also persuaded him a few times and even sent him Yang Luo's number. He said that if there was really a problem, he could contact Yang Luo. Initially, he did not want to believe it, but he could not dissuade Ren Pingwei, so he saved Yang Luo's number. Who is Yang Luo? Is he a doctor? Zhang Xiuqin asked. Yes. Luo Zhongyue nodded. He should have a way to treat me. All right, I'll call him now. Zhang Xiuqin nodded and left the room. She went to the study and picked up the phone on the desk. She found Yang Luo's number and called him. At the same time, in a private room in a cafeteria in the New World Mall, Yang Luo, Qin Yimo, and Wu Yu were eating. Not long ago, Yang Luo had treated the injuries on Qin Yimo and Wu Yu's faces. Yang Luo took a bite of the food and asked, Miss Qin, where are we going after dinner? Are we going to continue shopping here? Qin Yimo shook her head and said, No, let's go to the nearby East Lake Park. Therefore, there were too many people in the mall. When she shopped here, she was constantly pointed at. This made her feel very uncomfortable, so she wanted to go to a place with fewer people. All right, we'll go wherever you say. Yang Luo nodded in agreement. At this moment, his cell phone rang. Yang Luo took out his phone and saw that it was an unknown number. He looked puzzled, thought it was a sales call, and hung up. But soon, the phone rang again. Who exactly was it? Yang Luo frowned and picked up the call. As soon as the call went through, a female voice sounded. Are you Yang Luo? That's right. I'm Yang Luo. Who are you? Yang Luo simply replied. I'm the Madam of Jiangnan Province's Governor Luo, Zhang Xiuqin. Governor Luo is very uncomfortable now. Come over quickly. Zhang Xiuqin's voice could be heard again. There was even a commanding tone. Oh, so it's Lady Luo. Yang Luo nodded in realization and said, Didn't A.R. Luo not believe me? Why are you thinking of me now that something has happened? I'm sorry, I'm not free now. If Zhang Xiuqin spoke to him nicely, he might agree to help her. However, Zhang Xiuqin's attitude was too bad. She actually asked him to go over in a commanding tone. This made him very unhappy. Zhang Xiuqin did not seem to expect Yang Luo to reject her. She was stunned for a while before saying in a low voice, Mr. Yang, did you not hear clearly just now? I said that I'm the Madam of Luo Province. Governor Luo asked you to come over for treatment. What's your attitude? What attitude? I like to ask you what attitude you have. Yang Luo was instantly amused and said, I don't care who he is. Does he think he can order people around just because he has a status? You? Zhang Xiuqin was stunned. No one had ever spoken to her like this. She said coldly, Mr. Yang, you have to know that countless people in Jiangnan province are trying their best to curry favor with Governor Luo. Now that Governor Luo wants you to treat him, it's your honor. It's also a great opportunity for you to get close to our Luo family. Others want to curry favor with you, but I've never thought of it. As for getting close to your Luo family, I've never thought about it either. All right, you can do whatever you want. I don't have the ability to serve big shots like you. With that, Yang Luo hung up. Qin Yimo asked in confusion, Mr. Yang, who called you just now? An insolent fellow. Yang Luo replied and waved his hand. It's all right, ignore that person. Let's go to East Lake Park now. All right, Qin Yimo nodded and did not ask further. At this moment, Mountain Viewing Villa in the study of Villa number 6. Zhang Xiuqin looked at her phone in a daze. She was dumbfounded. As Luo Zhongyue's madam, everyone was respectful to her wherever she went. In order to ask her to do something, others would fight to please her and give her gifts. However, she did not expect that someone would dare to talk to her like this today and even hang up on her. This made her very angry. She took a deep breath and walked out of the study to the next room. Seeing Zhang Xiuqin enter, Luo Zhongyue hurriedly asked, Xiuqin, how is it? Zhang Xiuqin said unhappily, Old Luo, who did ask you try to call? Their attitude is too lousy. I told him that you're not feeling well and asked him to come over to treat you, but he didn't come. He even said that he didn't care who you were. Hearing this, Luo Zhongyue frowned. Yang Luo was clearly not giving him face by doing this. Zhang Xiuqin said, Could it be that only Yang Luo S can treat you? I don't believe it. The 4 divine doctors of Jiang City all have extraordinary medical skills. We'll invite them over now. Luo Zhongyue nodded and said, All right, then invite divine Dr. Huang and the others over. Zhang Xiuqin took out her phone and called Huang Tian, Chao Jixing, Han Shulich, and Sunborn. After the call, Zhang Xiuqin was furious and became even angrier. Luo Zhongyue asked in confusion, Xiuqin, what's wrong now? Zhang Xiuqin said angrily, I called Divine Dr. Huang and Divine Dr. Chao just now, but I couldn't get through. After that, I called the main shop of the Ancient Life Hall and Hunter Herd's residence. However, the people in the shop said that Divine Dr. Huang and Divine Dr. Chao had been in seclusion recently to study acupuncture and Chinese medicine. I called Divine Dr. Han again, but he was not in Jiang City now. He was attending a meeting outside. Only Divine Dr. Sun has time now. He said that he would come over immediately. She wanted to get all 4 divine doctors in Jiang City to come over, but who knew that only one divine doctor would come over now? What was wrong with her life today? Why was everyone making things difficult for her? Luo Zhongyue coughed heavily a few times and said, It's fine. Divine Dr. Sun came alone. It's enough. Point 1. After waiting for half an hour, a tall and thin old man in a gray tang suit walked in with a medicine box. His silver-gray hair was combed neatly, his face was rosy, and his eyes were bright. This old man was one of the 4 divine doctors in Jiang City, Mystic Dr. King, Sunborn. Divine Dr. Sun, you're finally here. Zhang Xiuqin quickly went up to him. The old man in front of him was the divine doctor of Jiang City, the director of the Traditional Chinese Medicine Association, and the dean of the Chinese Medicine School, the #1 medical university in Jiang City. He was highly respected. Therefore, no matter how arrogant Zhang Xiuqin was, she would still give this old man some respect. Hello, Divine Dr. Sun. Wu Jinping also greeted him respectfully. Sunborn nodded and quickly walked to the bed. Luo Zhongyue spoke with difficulty. Divine Dr. Sun, sorry to trouble you. Mr. Luo, let me check your body first. Point 11. Sunborn said and reached out to take Luo Zhongyue's pulse. A few minutes later, Sunborn retracted his hand. Divine Dr. Sun, how's old Luo? Zhang Xiuqin hurriedly asked. Sun Boren frowned slightly and said, Mr. Luo didn't contract an ordinary illness, but instead a baleful aura has entered his body/1. What? A baleful aura infected his body? Zhang Xiuqin was stunned. She didn't understand what Sun Boren meant. Wu Junping smiled dryly and said, Dr. Sun, why would there be a baleful aura in the body? Isn't what you said a little too far-fetched? The other doctors nodded repeatedly. After all, they all studied Western medicine and never believed in such things. Sun Boren said, there are all kinds of illnesses in this world. Mysticism is also a type of Chinese medicine. Moreover, some illnesses can't be detected by medical equipment. If it was an ordinary person who said this, Wu Jinping and the others would have long scoffed and mocked him. However, seeing Sun Boren's status, they couldn't say much, but they still didn't believe it in their hearts. However, Luo Zhongyue was shocked. Divine Dr. Sun was actually as Yang Luo had said. Could it be that the baleful aura had really entered his body? He could not believe what he said to Yang Luo, but he had no choice but to believe what Sun Boren said. The reason why Sun Boren was called the Mystic Dr. King was because he knew both Chinese medicine and metaphysics. Since you don't believe me, you guys can watch later. Sun Boren said indifferently and said to Zhang Xiuqin, Madam, please unbutton Mr. Luo's shirt. Oh, okay. Zhang Xiuqin nodded and quickly went forward to unbutton Luo Zhongyue's shirt. Then, Sun Boren opened the medicine box and took out a set of silver needles. After disinfecting them, he began to perform acupuncture on Luo Zhongyue. He was using his specialty, the 13 needles of the mysterious gate. As the silver needles fell one after another, Luo Zhongyue's chest suddenly turned black, and traces of black gas even floated out from the silver needle. Seeing this scene, everyone present was dumbfounded. Oh my God, what is this? Could it be that a baleful aura has really entered his body? Wu Jinping and the others could not help but exclaim. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed it. But soon, they thought of Sun Boren performing the treatment and quickly shut their mouths. It was not until all 13 silver needles fell that Sun Boren retracted his hand. After more than half an hour, the black aura dissipated completely, and the black color on Luo Zhongyue's chest disappeared without a trace. Sun Boren wiped the sweat off his forehead and retracted the silver needles. After putting away the silver needles, Sun Boren said to Zhang Xiuqin, Madam, please bring a bowl of water over. All right, point 11. Zhang Xiuqin nodded and went to get a bowl of water. Sun Boren took out an alcohol lamp from the medicine box and lit it. He also took out a talisman, lit it, and threw it into the bowl. He said, Madam, feed Mr. Luo this bowl of talisman water. Mr. Luo will be fine. Looking at the black talisman residue floating in the bowl, Zhang Xiuqin frowned and asked, Divine Dr. Sun, can this really be drunk? Of course it can slash. Sun Boren nodded and said, Drinking this talisman water will only be good for Mr. Luo. Then I. Zhang Xiuqin agreed and helped Luo Zhongyue sit up, letting him finish the bowl of talisman water. After drinking the talisman water, he waited for a while. Luo Zhongyue let out a long breath and said excitedly, Divine Dr. Sun, I feel much better. My chest is no longer stuffy, and my breathing has calmed down. Moreover, my body doesn't hurt anymore. Really, old Luo, have you really recovered? Zhang Xiuqin emotionally spoke out beside him. Yes, it's indeed much better. Luo Zhongyue nodded heavily. Wu Jinping and the others were also shocked. This had completely refreshed their previous understanding of medicine. They did not expect that illness could be treated like this. Divine Dr. Sun, thank you for saving me. I'm very grateful. Luo Zhongyue said gratefully. Then he said to Zhang Xiuqin, Xiuqin, quickly pay Divine Dr. Sunday. All right. Zhang Xiuqin nodded and was about to write a check. But right at this moment, Luo Zhongyue suddenly clutched his chest and let out a painful cry. Then he fell straight back onto the bed. Arg! Luo Zhongyue fell onto the bed and screamed in pain. Blood began to flow from his mouth and nose again. Old Luo, Mr. Luo, Zhang Xiuqin, Wu Jinping, and the others were stunned and exclaimed, "Divine Dr. Sun, what exactly is going on? Didn't old Luo recover just now? Why is he like this again?" Zhang Xiuqin was so agitated that she was about to cry. "Let me see." Sun Boren frowned and checked Luo Zhongyue's pulse again. A few minutes later, Sun Boren's face darkened, and he said, "The baleful aura in Mr. Luo's body was clearly expelled just now. So why is there another baleful aura entering his body now? Divine Dr. Sun, quickly think of a way." Zhang Xiuqin became more and more anxious. Sun Boren quickly used the 13 needles of the mysterious gate again. The 13 silver needles pierced into the 13 acupuncture points on Luo Zhongyue's chest. Only then did Luo Zhongyue's condition improve slightly, and he was not in as much pain as before. After the acupuncture, Sun Boren did not remove the needle. Instead, he hurriedly said, "Madam, I can only temporarily control the dissipation of the baleful aura in Mr. Luo's body. However, with my current medical skills, it was probably impossible to completely cure him. Therefore, madam, please invite other experts to treat Mr. Luo." Zhang Xiuqin was anxious. "Invite an expert? Where do I find another expert? Divine Dr. Huang and Divine Dr. Chao are in seclusion. Divine Dr. Han is having a meeting outside of town. How can there be any experts in Jiang City now?" Luo Zhongyue lay on the bed and said with a pained expression, "Xiuqin, call Mr. Yang again and ask him to come over. Quick, quick. All right." Zhang Xiuqin nodded repeatedly and called Yang Luo. However, even after she called a few times, Yang Luo did not pick up at all. Zhang Xiuqin panicked. "Old Luo, Mr. Yang isn't answering his phone." At this moment, Sun Boren asked in confusion, "Mr. Luo, who is this Mr. Yang you're talking about?" Luo Zhiyue replied, "Mr. Yang is the person who saw that I was infused with a baleful aura 3 days ago." He could tell this 3 days ago. Sun Boren was shocked. Could it be that he could see it at a glance? "That's right." Luo Zhongyue nodded. "Expert." Sun Boren became excited. "Even if it's me, I can only find out through checking one's pulse. And since Mr. Yang can tell at a glance, I'm afraid Mr. Yang is a true expert." At this moment, Luo Zhongyue completely believed Yang Luo's words. He shouted at Zhang Xiuqin, "Since you can't get through, quickly send someone to investigate. After finding Mr. Yang's location, go and invite him over personally." "All right," Zhang Xiuqin responded and left in a hurry. At the same time, East Lake Park. The entire park was quiet and beautiful. Yang Luo pushed Qin Yimo to take a walk by the lake and chatted while Wu Yu followed by the side. "Mr. Yang, it's said that Hua Mei Biomedical has been in constant danger recently. How is it now? Do you need help?" Qin Yimo asked Yang Luo, her eyes filled with worry. Yang Luo replied, "Don't worry, Miss Qin. This crisis is nothing to Qingmei. Moreover, with me by Qingmei's side, these dangers could be overcome one by one. Don't worry." Qin Yimo sighed and said, "Mr. Yang, it's not like you don't know that Qingmei is too stubborn. No matter what happened to the company, she is unwilling to ask for help from others, let alone her family. She had told me before that she wanted to rely on her own strength to build up Hua Mei Biomedical. However, how can it be so easy for a woman to run such a large company?" Yang Luo smiled. "That's where I come in. 1 foot 11 inches tied over all the difficulties with her." Qin Yimo nodded and said, "That's right. It's great that Qingmei can be with you. I really envy you guys." Yang Luo smiled and said, "Miss Qin, you don't have to envy us. When your leg recovers, you can also find your other half. Maybe." Qin Yimo turned to look at the lake with a helpless and complicated expression. Actually, after spending some time together, she actually developed a good impression of Yang Luo. Especially what happened in the mall not long ago. It made her feel a little moved towards Yang Luo. She had been protected by her family since she was young, but the protection Yang Luo gave her was different. However, at the thought that Yang Luo was her best friend's fiancé, she could only suppress this good impression in her heart. Perhaps after her legs recovered and she distanced herself from Yang Luo, this good impression would weaken. "Mr. Yang, From now on, just call me Momo like Qing Mei." Qin Yimo suddenly said. Yang Luo grinned and said, "Can one assume that you already treat me as a friend?" "Yeah." Qin Yimo nodded obediently. Yang Luo said, "In that case, don't call me Mr. Yang anymore. You can call me by my name or Brother Yang." "All right, Brother Yang." Qin Yimo stared at Yang Luo and smiled sweetly. Seeing the woman smile, Yang Luo was momentarily dazed. A beautiful face, a beautiful smile, rapturous eyes. It was breathtaking. Yang Luo coughed lightly, then retracted his gaze and said, "Let's go take a look in front." As he spoke, Yang Luo pushed Qin Yimo forward. Wu Yu, who was following behind, sighed and shook her head. After shopping for a full hour, Yang Luo found a shady place to rest and bought a few bottles of water. The three of them sipped on their water and enjoyed the breeze. It was a moment of contentment. But at this moment, "Come on there," a sharp cry sounded. Yang Luo turned around and saw a man and a woman running over. The woman was wearing a silk cheongsam. She had a graceful figure and gave off an outstanding temperament. The man was wearing a black suit and looked like a bodyguard. This woman was precisely Zhang Xiuqin, and the man was Luo Zhongyue's driver and bodyguard. Zhang Xiuqin ran over and panted a few times. "Are you Yang Luo?" Hearing the woman's familiar voice, Yang Luo immediately reacted. "You're Madame Luo?" "That's right." Zhang Xiuqin responded and said, "Governor Luo's situation is critical now. You still have a mood to have fun here? All right, hurry up and come with me." Hearing Zhang Xiuqin's words, Yang Luo frowned and said, "Madame Luo, why am one not in the mood to have fun? Does everyone have to revolve around your husband? Also, I really want to ask, did your family not teach you what manners are?" Zhang Xiuqin was instantly enraged and berated. "Kid, you actually dare to lecture me. Who do you think you are? Do people like you really know medicine? I'm beginning to suspect you. Moreover, if old Luo hadn't insisted that I invite you, one wouldn't have come at all. It's as if no one can cure old Luo other than you." Yang Luo said coldly, "Since you look down on me so much, find someone else." At this moment, Qin Yimo and Wu Yu understood what was going on. They were also very unhappy with Zhang Xiuqin's attitude, but they did not say anything. "Kid, are you coming with me or not?" Zhang Xiuqin was getting more and more impatient. Yang Luo ignored this woman and drank his water. Seeing that Yang Luo was ignoring her, Zhang Xiuqin was furious. She waved her hand. "Take him away." "Yes, madam." The bodyguard at the side responded and walked towards Yang Luo. The bodyguard said in a low voice, "Kid, please come with us." "What if I don't?" Yang Luo narrowed his eyes and asked. "Then don't blame me for being rude." The bodyguard said in a fierce voice and reached out to grab Yang Luo's shoulder. But the moment the bodyguard reached out, Yang Luo grabbed the bodyguard's wrist with his right hand and squeezed. "Ugh!" The bodyguard screamed in pain. His gaze turned ruthless as he raised his left hand and grabbed at Yang Luo again. "Oomph!" Yang Luo snorted and kicked out. With a muffled bang, the bodyguard was sent flying a few meters away. By the side, Zhang Xiuqin was stunned. One had to know that this bodyguard was a retired Special Forces soldier. He was very skilled and had helped Luo Zhongyue resolve many a crisis that happened to him. However, she did not expect the Special Forces soldier to be so weak in front of this kid. The bodyguard also covered his chest and got up. He looked at Yang Luo with reverence. Without a doubt, this kid in front of him was much stronger than him. Yang Luo turned to look at Zhang Xiuqin and said coldly, "Madame Luo, is this how you invite people? If you can't invite others, then use force on them." "How impressive." Zhang Xiuqin saw that she couldn't use force, so she started to use soft tactics. She gritted her teeth and said, "Kid, as long as you come with me and cure my husband, I'm willing to pay you 5 million yuan." "Piss off." Yang Luo only replied her simply, 8 million. Zhang Xiuqin started to raise the price. She did not believe that a person would not be tempted by money. "Piss off." Yang Luo shouted coldly again. 10 million. Zhang Xiuqin raised the price again. "Kid, 10 million is not a small amount." Countless people can't earn 10 million in their lives. After a pause, Zhang Xiuqin continued, Moreover, if you can cure my husband, you can obtain my husband's favor. It will be much more convenient for you to do anything in the future. Piss off, Yang Luo shouted coldly again. His voice was raised a few pitches like a muffled thunder booming. Until now, this woman still did not realize her mistake and was still using money and power to order people around. You don't know how to appreciate favors. Zhang Xiuzhen pointed at Yang Luo before waving her hand. Let's go. With that, Zhang Xiuqin left with the bodyguards. After Zhang Xiuqin left, Qin Yimo looked at Yang Luo and said, Brother Yang, although Madame Luo's attitude when she invites people is very bad, I'm afraid you'll offend Governor Luo if you reject her like this. So what if I offend him? Yang Luo looked disdainful. He's the one begging me now, not the other way around. Since you're asking for help, you have to have the attitude of asking for help. Mr. Yang is right. Wu Yu took over and said, if you want to ask someone for help, you have to have the correct attitude. Previously, when one was watching my reels, I saw many women who used their husbands for their own purposes. This Madame Luo is a classic example. Qin Yimo said helplessly, Brother Yang, are you really not going to treat him? Yang Luo said, 1 foot 11 inches treat them when their attitude is correct. After Zhang Xiuqin left East Lake Park, she returned to Villa number 6 of Mountain Viewing Villa. Seeing Zhang Xiuqin enter, Luo Zhongyue hurriedly asked, Xiuqin, is Mr. Yang here? Don't mention about him. Zhang Xiuqin said unhappily, that kid really doesn't know what's good for him. I went to invite him personally, but he didn't come. He even said that not everyone has to revolve around you, and asked us to find someone else. Upon hearing this, Luo Zhongyue's expression darkened. He felt very angry. However, Ren Pingwei had previously told him that Yang Luo was straightforward, magnanimous, and had the benevolence of a doctor. It was not like what Zhang Xiuqin had said. Could it be that he was angry because he did not believe his words 3 days ago? Thinking of this, Luo Zhongyue said, Xiuqin, quickly call Brother Ren and ask him to come over. Brother Ren has a good relationship with ATR. Yang, you should give Brother Ren face. Zhang Xiuqin said, Old Luo, are you still planning to invite that kid? He's putting on such airs. We won't be able to invite him over. Luo Zhongyue said irritably, just call him if I tell you to. Don't talk so much nonsense. All right. I'll phone him. You just want to stubbornly insist on your own ideas. Zhang Xiuqin took out her phone and called Ren Pingwei. Not long after, Ren Pingwei hurried into the room. Seeing Luo Zhongyue lying on the bed, Ren Pingwei quickly walked over. His expression changed. Brother Luo, what's wrong? Sun Boren took over. Mr. Luo's body has been invaded by a baleful aura. He's in danger now. Oh, Ren Pingwei was shocked. The baleful aura really entered his body. 3 days ago, Yang Luo said that Luo Zhongyue's baleful aura had entered his body and would flare up 3 days later. Divine Dr. Yang was right. Luo Zhongyue smiled bitterly and said, Yes, I didn't believe it at first, but now I have no choice but to believe it. Brother Luo, didn't I give you Divine Dr. Yang's number? Why didn't you call him? Ren Pingwei asked in confusion. I did, why didn't I? Zhang Xiuqin continued. Not only did I call him, but one even personally invited him. However, he put on airs and acted like a big shot, refusing to come. That's not correct. Ren Pingwei looked puzzled. Sister-in-law, Divine Dr. Yang, doesn't seem like the kind of person who would put on airs and act like a big shot. Could there be a misunderstanding? Zhang Xiuqin's eyes flickered, but she didn't say anything. She naturally wouldn't admit that it was her fault. Luo Zhongyue said, Brother Run, that's why one called you. I want you to help me invite Mr. Yang. All right, 1 foot 11 inches invite Divine Dr. Yang. Ren Pingwei agreed immediately and left the villa. East Lake Park. Yang Luo sat on the stone chair and quietly looked at the lake in the distance. Just now, Ren Pingwei called him and said that he wanted to come over. Not long after, Divine Dr. Yang, Ren Pingwei ran over. Seeing that Qin Yimo was also here, Ren Pingwei smiled and greeted. Miss Qin, you're here too. Good morning, official Run. Qin Yimo smiled and nodded. Yang Luo turned to look at Ren Pinghui and said, Mr. Run, are you here to persuade me on behalf of Mr. Luo? Ren Pinghui said, That's right, Divine Dr. Yang. Brother Luo asked me to invite you. Brother Luo's current situation is very bad. Please help him. Don't be angry with Brother Luo anymore. Yang Luo shook his head and said, But I'm not angry with Mr. Luo. Ren Pinghui sounded puzzled. Then why aren't you willing to help when sister-in-law Luo came to invite you? Yang Luo sneered and said, Is that even called an invitation? What happened? Ren Pinghui also felt that something was wrong. Official Run, it's like this. Qin Yimo told Ren Pinghui what had just happened. After listening to Qin Yimo, Ren Pinghui finally understood what was going on. He sighed and said, Sister-in-law has indeed gone overboard. I'll apologize to you on her behalf. Divine Dr. Yang, please give me face and help Brother Luo. Brother Luo is really dying. Moreover, Brother Luo is truly a good person. He had done many good deeds for Jiang City and the entire Jiangnan province. For example, the establishment of the Jiangnan Charity Foundation, the perfecting of the conditions of the Jiang City Welfare Institute, the development of the slums in Jiang City. Hearing Ren Pinghui's words, Yang Luo also felt moved. It seemed that Luo Zhongyue was indeed a good person. He had truly thought hard about how to benefit the masses. Thinking of this, Yang Luo said, Since you've personally invited Mr. Run, 1 foot 11 inches naturally give you face. I'll go with you. Ren Pinghui said happily, Thank you, Divine Dr. Yang. Yang Luo turned to look at Qin Yimo. Momo, why don't you and assistant Wu go home first? No, thanks. Qin Yimo shook her head and said, Wu Yu and I will go to Huamei Biomedical to accompany Qing Mei later. When you're done, look for us at Huamei Biomedical. Sure. Yang Luo nodded and agreed. Then, he left the car and got into Ren Pinghui's car, leaving the park. After driving for more than half an hour, they arrived at Villa number 6 of Mountain Viewing Villa. After getting out of the car, Yang Luo followed Ren Pinghui into the villa. When they arrived at the room on the 2nd floor, Ren Pinghui said loudly, Brother Luo, Divine Dr. Yang is here. For a moment, everyone in the room looked over. When they saw Yang Luo, Sun Boren, Wu Jinping, and the others were shocked. Although they had already learned from Luo Zhongyue that Yang Luo was a young man, they did not expect him to be even younger than they had imagined. They could not help but wonder if this young man was really an expert. Did he even know medicine? Mr. Yang, you're really difficult to invite. Luo Zhongyue said indifferently with a hint of dissatisfaction. Yang Luo said neither servile nor overbearing. Mr. Luo, if you had a proper attitude when inviting people, I would have come long ago. What do you mean? Luo Zhongyue frowned. Yang Luo said, Ask your madam. Xiuqin, what's going on? Luo Zhongyue also sensed the problem and looked up at Zhang Xiuqin. I. Zhang Xiuqin stammered, but she did not dare to speak. Luo Zhongyue impatiently turned to Ren Pinghui. Brother Run, tell me, what exactly happened? Well, it's hard to say. Ren Pinghui was a little hesitant. Luo Zhongyue said, Brother Ren, we're already so close. Just tell me directly. Ren Pinghui sighed and did not exaggerate. He told Luo Zhongyue the situation truthfully. After hearing Ren Pinghui's words, Luo Zhongyue was instantly furious. He glared at Zhang Xiuqin and shouted, Xiuqin, I asked you to invite Mr. Yang over. Is this how you invite someone? You want me to die, don't you? No, it's not the case. Zhang Xiuqin panicked and said with an aggrieved expression, I was just anxious, so one didn't pay attention to my tone. Is this a question of tone? This was clearly a matter of attitude. I told you before not to use your power to suppress others. Luo Zhongyue was so angry that his chest heaved up and down as he coughed violently. Stop it. I know I was wrong. Zhang Xiuqin's eyes were red, and tears could not stop flowing. Luo Zhongyue roared. What are you crying for? Hurry up and apologize to Mr. Yang. Zhang Xiuqin wiped her tears and looked at Yang Luo. She choked and said, Mr. Yang, I'm sorry. Well, no, my mistake. Please save old Luo. Yang Luo waved his hand. Forget it. Let's hurry up and treat the illness. As he spoke, Yang Luo walked to the bed. He glanced at the 13 silver needles on Luo Zhongyue's chest and asked curiously, "Isn't this the 13 needles of the mysterious gate?" Sunborn was stunned and said, "Kid, you know about the 13 needles of the mysterious gate?" "Of course I do." Yang Luo nodded and said, "Not only do I know, but I have also learnt the 13 needles of the mysterious gate. Although the 13 needles of the mysterious gate are very useful in expelling baleful aura, Mr. Luo's situation is a little special. The 13 needles of the mysterious gate alone are useless." "Oh," Sunborn's interest was piqued. "Then how should we treat it? Take a good look," Yang Luo said indifferently. Then, with a wave of his hand, he put away the silver needles that were stabbed into Luo Zhongyue's chest. Immediately after, he mobilized his true qi and shook his right hand. Swish! A silver needle whistled out and accurately pierced one of the acupuncture points on Luo Zhongyue's chest. Buzz! The silver needle emitted a dazzling golden light and trembled gently. "This is the Providence Needle." Sunborn couldn't help but exclaim and immediately became excited. Ren Pingwei, Zhang Xiuqin, Wu Jinping, and the others were also stunned. The scene in front of them was really too unbelievable, causing them to be extremely shocked. Ren Pingwei knew that Yang Luo's medical skills were extraordinary, but he had never seen Yang Luo treat his daughter. After all, Yang Luo was in the operating theater at that time. Now that he had seen it with his own eyes, he was full of admiration for Yang Luo. Zhang Xiuqin was also secretly shocked. Could this kid really be a divine doctor? Yang Luo ignored everyone. Silver needles fell one after another, continuously piercing Luo Zhongyue's chest. It was not until the 9th silver needle landed that Yang Luo retracted his hand. Seeing the 9 silver needles stabbed into Luo Zhongyue's chest, Sunborn trembled with excitement. Could this be the legendary acupuncture technique, the 9 needles of heavenly Tao? Yang Luo glanced at Sunborn and said, "Old man, you're quite knowledgeable. Divine Dr. Yang. This is one of the 4 divine doctors in Jiang City. Mystic Dr. King Sunborn." Ren Pingwei introduced. "Oh." Yang Luo nodded in realization and said, "Elder son, how's your medical skills compared to my 2 disciples?" Sunborn asked, "Who are your disciples?" Yang Luo said, "There are also divine doctors in Jiang City like you, Huang Taiyin, and Chao Jixing." "What?" Sunborn's eyes widened. Previously, Old Huang and Old Chao said that they acknowledged a divine doctor as their master. "So it's you." "Yes, that was me." Yang Luo nodded in reply. Sunborn sighed and said, "To be able to make Old Huang and Old Chao willingly acknowledge you as their master, I believe Mr. Yang's medical skills have already reached the peak." "It's a so. Yang Luo humbly replied and looked up at Luo Zhongyue. At this moment, as the 9 silver needles trembled, wisps of black, baleful aura floated out along the silver needles. When all 9 silver needles stopped trembling, the murderous aura in Luo Zhongyue's body was completely expelled. Then, Yang Luo waved his right hand and put away the silver needles. "It's over?" Sunborn asked. Yang Luo turned to Luo Zhongyue. "Mr. Luo, how do you feel?" Luo Zhongyue took a deep breath and said in surprise, "It's cured. It's completely cured." As he spoke, Luo Zhongyue got off the bed and took 2 steps to stretch his body. "That's it. Oh my God, isn't this too amazing? It won't act up again, right?" Wu Jinping discussed softly with a few doctors, feeling extremely shocked. One had to know that Luo Zhongyue was still on the verge of death just now, but now he could actually get out of bed and walk right after. Sunborn said, "Divine Dr. Yang, I also helped Mr. Luo expel the baleful aura in his body just now, but not long after, another baleful aura entered his body." Yang Luo said, "Of course. Although the baleful aura in Mr. Luo's body has been expelled, the source of the baleful aura had yet to be expelled." "The source of the baleful aura?" Sunborn was stunned and didn't understand what Yang Luo meant. "Everyone, come with me," Yang Luo said and walked out of the room. Luo, Zhongyue, and the others also walked out of the room and came to the study next door. "Mr. Yang, is there a problem with my study?" Luo Zhongyue asked in confusion. Yang Luo did not reply. Instead, he went straight to the bookshelf, and his gaze landed on a small bronze cauldron the size of a basketball. He reached out and picked up the small cauldron. He asked Luo Zhongyue, "Mr. Luo, where did this small cauldron come from?" Luo Zhongyue said, "This small cauldron was given to me by a friend on my birthday a few months ago." Yang Luo narrowed his eyes and said, "Mr. Luo, it seems that your friend really doesn't want you to live." Luo Zhongyue was shocked. "Mr. Yang, what do you mean?" Yang Luo explained, "This small cauldron is the source of the baleful aura. This small cauldron was originally unearthed from the ground and contained a baleful aura. Originally, this bit of baleful aura would not affect people much. However, someone had set up a spell to condense baleful aura on it, and this spell was specially targeted at you. Therefore, this small cauldron absorbed the baleful qi in the world every day and silently transferred it into your body. After a period of time, you'll be suddenly engulfed by the baleful aura and die. At that time, even a forensic doctor won't be able to identify any problems. They will only think that you died suddenly." Luo Zhongyue was so frightened that he broke out in cold sweat and could not help but clench his fists. "Brother Luo, who exactly want to harm you? Isn't this method too vicious?" Renpinghui asked in a deep voice. "Brother Ren, don't ask anymore." Luo Zhongyue sighed, but a cold glint flashed across his eyes. "All right, I'll help you break the spell on the small cauldron now," Yang Luo said and threw the small cauldron into the air. Then Yang Luo mobilized the true qi in his body and raised his right hand. He placed his index and middle fingers together and drew talismans in the air. In an instant, golden dragon talismans appeared in the void and shone with a dazzling golden light. "Drawing talismans in the air?" Sunborn exclaimed again. "Only those who cultivate mystic techniques to an extremely high realm can do this." One had to know that he had only reached the beginner level in the field of mystic techniques. Everyone present was already dumbfounded. They felt that everything in front of them was so unrealistic. Yang Luo drew 9 talismans in a row and shot them out at the same time. In an instant, whoosh, 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 9 golden dragon talismans whistled out like 9 golden lights streaking across the sky, dazzling and resplendent. The 9 heavens dragon talisman he controlled could suppress all evil things in the world. After the 9 talismans flew out, they directly surrounded the tiny cauldron and suppressed it. Bang, 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 bang. With every suppression, muffled thunder exploded, causing everyone's eardrums to buzz. Suddenly, hoo, 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 hoo. A cold wind blew in the study room as a terrifying, baleful aura spewed out from the mouth of the cauldron. The temperature in the entire study seemed to have dropped to 0 degrees Celsius, making everyone shiver. More than 10 minutes passed in this state before the baleful aura in the small cauldron was completely expelled. The 9 golden dragon runes also dissipated in the sky. With a bang, the tiny cauldron fell to the ground. Yang Luo said, "Mr. Luo, the murderous aura in this small cauldron has been completely expelled. This small cauldron is no longer a threat. It's just an ordinary antique." Luo Zhongyue was already traumatized. He called for his bodyguards and said, "Throw this thing out. The further, the better." The bodyguard picked up the small cauldron and prepared to leave. However, Yang Luo suddenly felt the dense spiritual energy fluctuation in this small cauldron. Because of the baleful aura just now, he could not sense it. Now that the baleful aura had been expelled, he could feel the spiritual qi fluctuating from the small cauldron. "Wait!" He quickly stopped the bodyguard. "Mr. Yang, what's wrong?" Luo Zhongyue thought that there was another problem. Yang Luo took the small cauldron from the bodyguard and carefully sensed it. He was shocked. Not only did he sense the spiritual qi fluctuation in the cauldron, but he also sensed the spiritual qi fluctuation of the various medicinal herbs in the cauldron. Could this be the King Medicine Cauldron? It was rumored that King of Medicine Sun Simiao had someone specially make a bronze cauldron for him in the past to refine pills and brew medicine, because it had absorbed too many medicinal properties and the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. Sun Simiao's small cauldron had gained spirituality and became a treasure called the King Medicine Cauldron. Previously, he thought that the legend of the Medicine King Cauldron was fabricated by later generations, but now he knew that the King Medicine Cauldron truly existed. He did not expect that not only did the 9 dragon talismans he threw out just now expel the baleful aura, but they also activated the spirituality of the Medicine King Cauldron. Otherwise, he would not have realized that this was the legendary King Medicine Cauldron. Yang Luo took a deep breath and said to Luo Zhongyue, "Mr. Luo, this small cauldron is a treasure. It would be a pity to throw it away. Why don't you give it to me?" He happened to lack a cauldron to refine pills, so he needed the King Medicine Cauldron. Moreover, other than being able to refine pills and brew medicine, the King Medicine Cauldron had other uses that needed to be developed. Luo Zhongyue waved his hand and said, "Mr. Yang, since you want it, just take it." Yang Luo thanked him and said, "Thank you, Mr. Luo." Luo Zhongyue said to Zhang Xiuqin, "Xiuqin, quickly give Mr. Yang 10 million. All right." Zhang Xiuqin nodded. Now, she was completely convinced by Yang Luo's medical skills and no longer had her previous arrogance. She quickly wrote a check and handed it over with both hands. She said respectfully, "Mr. Yang, I was wrong previously. I shouldn't have been rude to you. I hope you can forgive me. In the future, no matter what you need our help with, we will definitely do it." Yang Luo nodded. He knew that Zhang Xiuqin really knew her mistake, so he didn't harp on it. "Madam Luo, you were also anxious to treat Mr. Luo just now. I can understand. Thank you for your forgiveness, Mr. Yang." Zhang Xiuqin's eyes turned red as she bowed deeply to Yang Luo. Luo Zhongyue only looked on at Yang Luo with admiration in his eyes. Yang Luo didn't take the check that was offered. He said, "I've already taken one of Mr. Luo's treasures. Let's forget about the money." Luo Zhongyue pretended to be angry and said, "Brother Yang, if you don't accept it, you're looking down on me." Therefore, because he admired and respected Yang Luo, Luo Zhongyue directly called Yang Luo brother. He naturally did this to be on good terms with Yang Luo. It was only beneficial to be on good terms with such a divine doctor with extraordinary medical skills. "All right, since Brother Luo has said so, I'll accept it." Yang Luo smiled faintly and put away the check. After that, Zhang Xiuqin also paid Sun Boren 5 million yuan. Sun Boren didn't even look at it. He casually put it in his pocket and walked towards Yang Luo with a smile. He rubbed his hands and said, "Divine Dr. Yang, I have something to discuss with you." "What is it?" Yang Luo glanced at Sun Boren. He felt that this old man was up to no good. Sun Boren chuckled and said, "Divine Dr. Yang, since you've taken an old Huang and old Chao as your disciples, why don't you take me in too?" "Ah." Yang Luo was instantly speechless. "You want to acknowledge me as your master too?" "Yes, that's right." Sun Boren nodded like a hen pecking for food. Yang Luo curled his lips and said, "Then I'll consider it." Sun Boren smiled and said, "All right, take your time to consider. I'm not in a hurry." At this moment, Luo Zhongyue looked at the time and said, "Everyone, it's already past 4 in the afternoon. 1 foot 11 inches treat everyone to a meal later. Please give me some face." Rin Pingwei looked at Yang Luo and said with a smile, "Divine Dr. Yang, you have to make up for the wine you didn't manage to drink last time." "Fine." Yang Luo nodded and said, "However, won't have to go to Hua, Mave Biomedical first to pick up my fiancée, Miss Qin, and the others." Luo Zhongyue laughed and waved his hand. "No problem. The more the merrier." Then, Yang Luo and the rest left the villa. They got into the car and went straight to Hua, Mave Biomedical. At the same time, in a deserted mountain forest in China, the mountains and rivers here were beautiful, and the spiritual energy was more abundant. At this moment, in a cave, an old Taoist priest in a black Taoist robe with a mustache was cultivating. But at this moment, the old Taoist priest suddenly opened his eyes. His face turned red, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. He clutched his chest and gritted his teeth as he shouted, "Who? Who is it that could actually break the mystic fiend gathering curse that I set up, and even divert the backlash to me?" Accompanied by a furious roar, terrifying black, fiendish chi whistled out of his body. Boom, boom, boom. The surrounding mountain walls were riddled with holes, and the rocks were corroded. A strong, killing intent flashed in his eyes as he said ruthlessly, "Don't let me find you. Otherwise, I'll definitely tear you into pieces." Jiang City. It was past 5 in the afternoon. Inside Hua Mei Biomedical. Early this morning, the Industry and Commerce Department sent someone over to check the documents and information of Hua Mei Biomedical during this period of time. Hence, Su Qingmei rushed to the company in the morning and cooperated with the employees for the audit. In the president's office, a middle-aged man with a Mediterranean hairstyle and a fat figure crossed his legs. He was drinking tea and reading a document leisurely. This middle-aged man was the team leader in charge of the industrial and commercial inspection, Wang Zhongbiao. Su Qingmei, Qin Yimo, and Wu sat at the side and did not speak. After Wang Zhongbiao finished reading a document, Su Qingmei said, "Team leader Wang, I've already said that our company has always been law-abiding. There's no problem." Wang Zhongbiao brought people over and stayed here for the entire day, making the employees and the company busy and severely affecting the company's normal work. Therefore, she was very unhappy, but she could not say anything. She only hoped that Wang Zhongbiao could leave as soon as possible. Wang Zhongbiao smacked his lips and said, "President Su, don't be anxious. When we're done checking, we'll naturally leave. Moreover, think about it. Your company is so big and has so much information. Can you finish the inspection in a day? So, I'll come again tomorrow. As for you, don't worry about me. Just do your own things." Su Qingmei was speechless. It was not enough to check for a day today, but he still had to come for another round tomorrow. He was clearly looking for trouble on purpose. Most importantly, she had never offended Wang Zhongbiao. Could it be Jiang Mingyu's doing? At the thought of this, Su Qingmei's expression turned cold. It seemed that Jiang Mingyu could not wait to suppress Hua Mei Biomedical. The more this was the case, the more she had to endure it. Qin Yimo could not stand it anymore and said, "Team leader Wang, what you're doing will affect the normal work of Hua Mei Biomedical. I'm afraid that's not appropriate, right?" Wang Zhongbiao waved his hand and said, "Miss Qin, what are you saying? I'm doing this to facilitate Hua Mei Biomedical's normal work in the future. Moreover, it's only a few days of examination. This won't affect Hua Mei Biomedical much." As he spoke, Wang Zhongbiao turned to look at Su Qingmei and asked, "President Su, do you have the Hong Pao?" "Here." "No." Su Qingmei shook her head. Wang Zhongbiao said, "I want to drink some Hong Pao now. Why don't we do this? After I finish my Hong Pao, I'll take my people away. How about that? Then please wait a moment." Su Qingmei hurriedly called Su Yin over. "President Su, what's the matter?" Su Yin quickly asked. Su Qingmei said, "Su Yin, hurry up and buy some Hong Pao." "Yes, President Su." Su Yin glanced at Wang Zhongbiao and left the office without saying anything. At this moment, 2 black Audis drove over from afar and stopped in front of the company. The car door opened, and Yang Luo, Luo Zhongyue, Ren Pinghui, Sun Boren, and Zhang Xiuqing got out. Yang Luo and the others had just walked into the hall when they saw Su Yin leave the elevator and rush over. "Assistant Su," Yang Luo called out. "Assistant Yang." Su Yin was stunned for a moment before she said, "Didn't President Su say that he gave you a break? Why are you here?" "Oh, I'm here to pick President Su up from work." Yang Luo replied and asked, "Assistant Su, you look like you're in a hurry. Where are you going?" Su Yin said helplessly, "To buy the Hong Pao." Yang Luo looked puzzled. "Does President Su have to receive any guests?" Su Yin said with a worried expression, "We have to receive guests, but this guest is very special. Assistant Yang, you don't know this, but the entire company has been thrown into a mess for the entire day. President Su is so annoyed. Yang Luo frowned and asked, "What exactly happened?" Su Yan did not hide anything and told Yang Luo what had happened at the company today. After hearing Su Yan's words, before Yang Luo could speak, Ren Pingwei spoke first. "What is Wang Zhongbiao doing? Is he so free that he actually came to their company to cause trouble?" Luo Zhongyue teased, "Old Run, this is your problem. How did you discipline your subordinates? How could you come to their company to cause trouble?" Ren Pinghui's face immediately turned red. "Assistant Yang, who are these two?" Su Yan felt that Luo Zhongyue and Ren Pinghui looked a little familiar just now, but she was not sure. Yang Luo did not hide anything and introduced Luo Zhongyue, Ren Pinghui, and the others. After hearing Yang Luo's introduction, Su Yan left reeling. Governor Luo, Director Ren, Madame Luo, Divine Dr. Sun. Oh my God, these were all famous figures in Jiang City and even the entire Jiangnan province. What's going on? Why was assisting Yang with these big shots and so close to them? Su Yan took a deep breath and hurriedly bowed. Governor Luo, Director Ren, Madame Luo, Divine Dr. Sun, hello. Ren Penghui waved his hand and said, "All right, there's no need to buy this to Hong Pao. Bring us up to take a look." "Okay." Su Yan nodded and took the elevator to the 28th floor with Yang Luo and the others. When Yang Luo and the others arrived at the office on the 28th floor, the members of the inspection team who were checking the information were shocked. All the team members stood up and greeted Luo Zhongyue and Ren Penghui respectfully. Ren Penghui's expression was cold. He glanced at the team members and didn't say anything. Instead, he followed Su Yan towards the president's office. Upon arriving at the office door, Su Yan knocked on the door. "Please come in." Su Qingmei's voice sounded. Su Yan pushed open the door and walked in. Wang Zhongbiao looked at Su Yan and frowned. "Assistant Su, didn't President Su ask you to buy to Hong Pao? Where's the Hong Pao?" Su Qingmei was also puzzled. What was going on? Could it be that she did not manage to buy it? But right after he finished his sentence, a deep voice sounded. "Wang Zhongbiao, you still want to drink the Hong Pao? Why don't you go to heaven and drink it instead?" "Who is it? Who's talking? Come out!" Wang Zhongbiao roared unhappily. Before his voice could fade, Ren Pinghui strode into the office. The moment he saw Ren Pinghui, Wang Zhongbiao was so frightened that his entire body trembled. He stood up with a whoosh. President, why are you here?" Wang Zhongbiao's entire body trembled, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. He never expected his immediate superior to come. "Little Wang, what you're doing is not right. How can you stay in someone else's company for a day?" Accompanied by a strong voice, Luo Zhongyue walked in. "Governor Luo." Wang Zhongbiao shuddered and his face turned pale. Soon, Yang Luo, Sun Boren, and Zhang Xiuqin walked in. Su Qingmei hurriedly stood up and welcomed them. "Governor Luo, Director Ren, why are you here?" Ren Pinghui said, "Miss Su, it was Divine Dr. Yang who said that he wanted to pick you up for a meal, so we wanted to come and take a look together. Who knew that we would encounter such a thing? President Su, I'm really sorry. I didn't discipline my subordinates well and delayed your work." Su Qingmei said, "Director Ren, you're being too serious." Ren Pinghui turned to look at Wang Zhongbiao and said with a cold gaze, "Wang Zhongbiao, don't you want to drink the Hong Pao? Do you need me to buy for you?" "All." Wang Zhongbiao wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and shook his head repeatedly. No, I don't want to drink it any longer." Ren Pinghui said in a deep voice, "Huamei Biomedical has always been an outstanding company in Jiang City. There has never been a problem with their accounts. Why did you bring someone here today to check? Did I ask you to check it?" I. Wang Zhongbiao trembled and stammered, unable to say a word. He naturally did not dare to admit that Jiang Mingyu had instructed him to come over. "Wang Zhongbiao, I'll deal with you tomorrow. Get lost." Ren Pinghui roared and kicked Wang Zhongbiao. Yes. 1 foot 11 inches, get lost now." Wang Zhongbiao didn't dare to say a word and hurriedly fled the office. After Wang Zhongbiao left, Su Qingmei looked at Yang Luo and asked, Yang Luo, what's going on? Why are you with Governor Luo, Director Run, Divine Doctor Sun, and Madame Luo? Miss Su, it's like this. Rin Pinghui told Su Qingmei what had happened at Villa Number 6 of Mountain Viewing Villa today. After hearing Rin Pinghui's words, Su Qingmei understood what was going on. However, what shocked her was that Yang Luo's connections were getting wider and wider, and the authority he wielded was also increasing. She recalled what her grandfather had said to her on the day of the engagement. How could a golden koi be trapped in a puddle? It would transform into a dragon when it encounters storm. She was certain that it might not be long before this man could soar into the sky. Luo Zhongyue said, Miss Su, it's getting late. Don't overwork yourself. Let's go eat together. Also, Miss Qin, you should come along too. All right. Su Qingmei and Qin Yimo nodded in agreement. Yang Luo and the others left the company and found a restaurant to eat. By the time they finished dinner, it was already past 9 in the evening. Luo Zhongyue and Rin Pinghui were sent back by the chauffeur. Yang Luo circulated his energy to force out the alcohol in his body and drove Su Qingmei, Qin Yimo, and Wu Yu home. Because Su Qingmei had also drunk a little today, her face was dyed red. Under the neon lights, she appeared very charming. The woman leaned back in her seat and looked at Yang Luo. Yang Luo, it's all thanks to you bringing Governor Luo and the others to help me out today. Otherwise, I would have been annoyed to death by Wang Zhongbiao. Her voice was a little slurred and lazy, making Yang Luo's heart tingle. Yang Luo said helplessly, Qingmei, you should have told me earlier so that I could come over earlier to help you deal with it. You wouldn't have been annoyed for the entire day. Su Qingmei pouted and said coquettishly, One don't want to trouble you with everything. As she spoke, Su Qingmei burped and said, Yang Luo, do you think I'm very useless? One need your help for everything. You were the one who helped to get back the debt that President Li owed. You were also the one who helped to salvage the collaboration with President Kai. You were also the one who made President Shun willingly help. You were also the one who provided the beauty secret recipe. You were also the one who helped to resolve the situation today. From the looks of it, when the company is in danger, one don't seem to be able to help at all. Yang Luo also knew that Su Qingmei was using the alcohol to speak her mind. Through this period of interaction, he got to know this woman better and better. Although this woman looked very strong on the surface, she was very soft on the inside. Moreover, she was in charge of such a big company alone. The pressure on her was greater than anyone else. He sighed in his heart and said, Qingmei, what do you mean by you didn't help at all? The reason why Hua Mei Biomedical could last until now was all because of you, the commander-in-chief. If not for you, I'm afraid the company would have collapsed long ago before I could help. That's right, Qingmei. Don't deny yourself. You're the best. Qin Yimo, who was sitting in the back seat, added. Qin Yimo had been drinking Chinese medicine recently, so she didn't drink and was still very sober. Su Qingmei blew out a long breath which reeked of alcohol and scratched her head. I'm not good at all. One feel too useless. I'm just a piece of trash. Qin Yimo said helplessly. Qingmei, you're drunk. Rest well. We'll be home soon. I'm not drunk. I can still drink. Su Qingmei shook her head and said, Why don't we continue drinking at the bar? No way. Qin Yimo rejected her directly. You need a rest now. You can't drink anymore. At this moment, Yang Luo glanced at the rearview mirror and saw a black MPV following behind. Previously, Yang Luo did not pay much attention to it, but now he realized that this car had already followed him for a few streets. Something was wrong. Yang Luo narrowed his eyes and immediately changed direction. He drove away from the road to Imperial River Court and onto an overpass. Qin Yimo asked in confusion, Brother Yang, did you drive the wrong way? This doesn't seem to be the way back to the Imperial River Court. Yang Luo coldly spoke out. One think we're being followed. What? We're being followed. Qin Yimo could not help but exclaim. Wu Yu's expression changed, and she said, Mr. Yang, are we really being followed? When Su Qingmei heard Yang Luo's words, she sobered up a little and said, Yang Luo, Are you sure we're being followed? Quite sure. Yang Luo nodded in reply. So what do we do now? Su Qingmei asked. Yang Luo said, let's see what they want to do first. As he spoke, Yang Luo stepped on the accelerator and sped up. Just as Yang Luo sped up, the MPV behind also sped up. Moreover, other than the black MPV, several other cars also sped up. Yang Luo was shocked. He frowned and said, there's more than one car following us. What? There's more than one? Qin Yimo shuddered and asked, how many cars are following us? Yang Luo glanced at the rearview mirror and said, from the looks of it, there are a total of 12 cars following us. 12. Su Qingmei also looked at the rearview mirror and realized that the situation was indeed as Yang Luo had said. She had a bad feeling about this. Why are these cars following us? She asked. What do they want? I'm not sure at this point. Yang Luo shook his head before he comforted them. Don't worry. With me around, nothing will happen. Su Qingmei, Qin Yimo, and Wu Yu took a few deep breaths and tried their best to remain calm. Yang Luo, where are you driving to now? Su Qingmei asked. Yang Luo said, driving to the suburbs. To the suburbs? Su Qingmei looked puzzled. Why do we have to drive to the suburbs? There was no one that lived in the suburbs. What if they do something bad to us? Yang Luo explained, if we didn't drive to a place with no one around, those guys wouldn't have appeared. If it's trouble, we can't hide from it. We might as well figure out what's going on in one go. Su Qingmei said, then should we call the police? Yang Luo said, since the other party dares to follow us openly, I don't think there's much use in calling the police. Let's forget it. Don't worry, I'll settle it. Soon, Yang Luo drove off the viaduct. However, as soon as he got off the viaduct, he saw many cars driving over from other roads and meeting up with the 12 cars behind. Now, there are more than 50 cars following Yang Luo and the others. This time, Su Qingmei, Qin Yimo, and Wu Yu became even more nervous. They had never experienced such a thing before. It was already considered strong that they were not frightened to tears. Good, very good. Interesting. I want to see what you guys are up to. The corners of Yang Luo's lips curled up slightly as a cold smile flashed across his face. Then, he continued to speed up and rush towards the suburbs. At this moment, Yang Luo was speeding in front with more than 50 cars chasing after him. This scene attracted many passers-by. Passers-by thought that they were filming and were very curious. They took out their phones to take photos and videos. After driving for more than an hour, Yang Luo drove far away from the city and into the suburbs. There were fewer and fewer cars in the suburbs, and there was no one within a 10-mile radius. After driving for a while, Yang Luo parked the car at the entrance of an abandoned factory by the roadside in the suburbs. At this moment, the 50-odd cars also drove over and stopped not far away. The abandoned factory was illuminated by the headlights from the cars. At this moment, Su Qingmei was already completely awake. She was so frightened that her heart raced. Qin Yimo and Wu Yu were also trembling and sweating profusely. Yang Luo said, Qingmei, Momo, Assistant Wu, lock the car window and car door later. Don't get out of the car, no matter what. What about you? Su Qingmei hurriedly asked. I'll go meet them. With that, Yang Luo pushed open the car door and got out. After Yang Luo got out of the car, he walked straight to the front of the car. His expression was calm as he said loudly, You've been following me for the entire night. Aren't you going to get out of the car? After a short period of time, the doors of the cars opened and figures got out and walked to the front of the cars. At the front were 5 men. They were the 5 heavenly kings of the Eastern Alliance, Gao Zhenhu, Zheng Yunsheng, Wang Jingquan, Li Dongqing, and Xiao Sudong. Yang Luo had fought with these 5 people before, so he naturally knew them. There were 21 people, both men and women, following closely behind these 5 people. Behind these 21 people were 200 men in black, gray, purple, and blue uniforms. Yang Luo slightly extended his senses and was shocked. Good Lord, he did not expect these more than 200 people to be martial warriors. Although the cultivation levels of these more than 200 people were only at the early stage to perfected acquired realm, they were still bona fide martial warriors. The pressure emitted by more than 200 martial warriors at the same time was incomparably terrifying, as if it had instantly sucked out the air in this area. In the car, Su Qingmei, Qin Yimo, and Wu Yu were trembling. After all, they were only ordinary people and had never seen such a scene. However, Yang Luo was not affected at all. He just stood there quietly with a calm expression. Soon, Gao Zhenhu and the others stopped 10 meters away from Yang Luo. Pa pa pa. Gao Zhenhu clapped his hands and said with a smile, "Kid, you're really bold. You know that we're following you, but you still dare to run to a place with fewer people. If I didn't come to a place with fewer people, why would you guys appear?" Yang Luo smiled faintly and said, "Tell me, what exactly do you want?" Gao Zhenhu stared intently at Yang Luo and said in a trembling voice, "Kid, I won't beat around the bush with you anymore. We only have one goal tonight, and that is to kill you." Yang Luo had long guessed their motives, so he was not surprised at all. He chuckled and said, "You guys think that with these people, you can kill me? Kid, don't be smug. Don't think that you can look down on everyone just because you have some strength." Zheng Yunsheng shouted coldly, "All the elites of the 4 chambers of commerce are here tonight. There's also our Eastern Alliance's 5 heavenly kings, the South Heaven Chamber of Commerce's 6 Vajras, the West Wind Chamber of Commerce's 7 poison flowers, and the Rising North Chamber of Commerce's 8 tiger generals. No matter how strong you are, you can't do anything to so many of us. Death is your final destination tonight. 5 heavenly kings, 6 Vajras, 7 poison flowers, 8 tiger generals. TSK, TSK, their names are quite resounding." Yang Luo smiled and shook his head. Then he raised his eyebrows and said, "One just don't know if your strength is as resounding as your reputation. Old Gao, stop talking nonsense with this kid. Hurry up and attack." Li Dongxing was a little impatient. Yang Luo gave him the feeling that he was too calm. Moreover, the way he looked at them was so disdainful, making him very unhappy. Gao Zhenhu nodded and waved his hand. "Brothers, attack." With this order, the 200 elites moved out at the same time, bringing with them gusts of strong wind as they rushed towards Yang Luo like wolves and tigers. It had to be known that these 200 elites were all martial warriors and not ordinary people. Each of them was an existence that could fight against a group alone. Now, these 200 martial warriors were mobilized at the same time. It was simply terrifying, causing this abandoned factory to tremble. Seeing the 200 martial warriors charging over aggressively, Su Qingmei, Qin Yimo, and Wu Yu in the car behind covered their mouths in fear. Could Yang Luo handle so many people alone? The 3 of them trembled and their faces turned pale. They were very worried for him. However, the moment the 200 martial warriors charged over, KRT, Yang Luo took a step forward and the ground cracked. Suddenly, who? A terrifying pressure and aura spread out like a violent wind that swept forward. The next second, the dozen or so martial warriors at the front felt as if a small mountain had hit them. All of them screamed and flew out. The dozen or so martial warriors were sent flying more than 10 meters away. Some had broken limbs, ribs, and internal organs. Blood gushed out of their mouths, and they directly lost their combat strength. Seeing this scene, in the car, Su Qingmei and the other 2 were stunned. Their eyes widened. What did they see? Yang Luo had only taken a step forward, but more than 10 people were sent flying before he even made a move. This was simply an immortal's method. No wonder Yang Luo had been extremely calm since he was followed. It turned out that he was fearless. Not only Su Qingmei and the other 2, but even Gao Zhenhu and the other main forces of the 4 chambers of commerce were shocked. So powerful. These 2 words appeared in everyone's hearts at the same time, just as these dozen or so martial warriors were sent flying. Immediately, more than 10 martial warriors rushed over and punched out at the same time, attacking Yang Luo. A series of ear-piercing sonic booms sounded in the air, like rolling thunder. However, Yang Luo was not afraid at all. He immediately twisted his fist and threw it at the dozen or so martial warriors. Boom, 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 crack, crack. Accompanied by a series of explosions and the sound of bones breaking, the dozen or so martial warriors were sent flying dozens of meters away at the same time. Seeing this scene, the martial artists who rushed up from behind were immediately frightened and did not dare to go forward for a moment. The battle had just begun, but dozens of martial warriors had already lost their combat strength. Wasn't this kid too strong? Gao Zhenhu's eyelids twitched as he shouted, "Why are you stopping? Attack together and kill this kid. No matter how strong this kid is, he's only one person. Could it be that there's so many of you here, but all of you are afraid of him?" Master Long said that whoever can kill this kid will be rewarded with 10 million. As the saying went, under heavy rewards, there would definitely be brave men. Kill, kill, kill. Those martial warriors roared and charged at Yang Luo together. Seeking death, Yang Luo shouted coldly, and his figure flashed, leaving after images as he charged forward. In the following period of time, Yang Luo was like a ghost as he flashed through the crowd. His hands turned into palms, clenched his fists, and kept swinging. Bang, bang, bang. The dull sounds of collision resounded nonstop. These martial warriors were like sandbags as they flew in all directions. One by one, even the cars were flipped over with loud bangs. Blood splattered in the air, and screams sounded under the night sky, making one's hair stand on end. Even if those henchmen were all martial warriors and were powerful, they were not Yang Luo's match at all. In fact, these martial warriors could not even touch Yang Luo's body. The number of people who fell kept increasing. 30 people, 50 people, 80 people, 100 people, in less than a few minutes. Bam! When the last martial warrior was sent flying onto a car, the event location fell silent. All 200 martial warriors fell to the ground in disorder. Screams rose and fell, and blood dyed the ground red. Only the 5 heavenly kings, the 6 Vajra, the 7 poison flower, and the 8 tiger generals were left standing. In the car, Su Qingmei, Qin Yimo, and we were all dumbfounded. They felt as if their hearts had stopped. The scene just now was simply like a movie. It appeared in their minds and completely shocked their hearts. Yang Luo fought 200 people alone. In the end, it was not Yang Luo who fell, but those 200 people. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed that this was the truth. Seeing this scene, they finally had a deeper understanding of Yang Luo's strength. How is this possible? The corners of Gao Zhenhu's mouth twitched as he looked at Yang Luo with fear. Wang Jingquan and the others were also dumbfounded as they stared fixedly at Yang Luo. The fear in their eyes was no less than Yang Luo's. Who is this kid? How could he be so powerful? Yang Luo clapped his hands and looked at Gao Zhenhu and the others. He said indifferently, "It's your turn." Gao Zhenhu gritted his teeth and suppressed the fear in his heart. He shouted loudly, "Attack together!" The next instant, Gao Zhenhu and the other 26 people moved at the same time and charged towards Yang Luo. One had to know that Gao Zhenhu and the other 26 people were the main forces of the 4 underground chambers of commerce. The lowest cultivation level was at the late stage acquired realm. Even a Khanate realm expert would probably not be able to withstand this wave of attacks. However, Yang Luo was not afraid at all. The corners of his lips curled up into a mocking smile. He moved and turned into a bolt of lightning to fight Gao Zhenhu and the other 26 people. 5 heavenly kings, Gao Zhenhu, Wang Jingquan, Zheng Yinsheng, Li Dongqing, and Xiao Sudong rushed at the front. The 5 of them punched, slapped, and swept their legs at the same time, attacking the various fatal parts of Yang Luo's body. Without any hesitation, Yang Luo raised his right arm and slapped out. As he slapped out with his palm, and a golden light appeared. It was like lightning and was incomparably domineering. Bang, bang, bang. Before Gao Zhenhu and the others' attacks could get close to Yang Luo, they were sent flying. Just as Gao Zhenhu and the others were sent flying, the 7 poisons flower charged over from behind. The 7 women flipped their wrists, and 7 daggers appeared in their hands, stabbing at Yang Luo's back. Chi, 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 chi. The 7 daggers pierced through the air, emitting an ear-piercing sound. If he was stabbed, he would definitely die. However, Yang Luo seemed to have eyes on his back. The moment the 7 daggers stabbed over, he suddenly stomped on the ground and flew up. Then he twisted his waist and kicked out in the air. The sound of an explosion resounded in the night sky. Oh, oh, The 7 poison flowers cried out in pain. Their arms were fractured, and they were sent flying at the same time. However, just as the 7 poisons flower was sent flying, the 6 Vajra and 8 tiger generals surrounded the 14 people and charged towards Yang Luo. Some of the 14 people were barehanded, while others held weapons and erupted with powerful combat strength to kill Yang Luo. Facing the attacks of the 14 people, Yang Luo parried every move and kept punching out with his fists and palms to meet them. Even though the 14 of them had a tacit understanding and powerful combat strength, they still could not resist Yang Luo's attack. In less than 3 minutes, all 14 of them were sent flying and fell to the ground, losing their combat strength. After the 5 heavenly kings, the 6 Vajras, the 7 poison flower, and the 8 tiger generals fell, only Yang Luo was left standing at the event location. "Mr. Yang is so awesome," Wu Yu said with a trembling voice. Su Qingmei and Qin Yimo looked at Yang Luo's back, their beautiful eyes filled with shock. They originally thought that these 200 people tonight would become Yang Luo's nightmare. But now, they understood that Yang Luo was the nightmare of these 200 people. Even Su Qingmei herself did not know that a gap had quietly opened in her sealed heart. Qin Yimo was also secretly tempted. She felt that she might really have fallen for him. This man had extraordinary medical skills and outstanding martial arts. How could he not be tempted? Just as Su Qingmei and the other 2 thought that the battle was over, Yang Luo looked at the black Mercedes-Benz at the back and said indifferently, "Stop watching from the side. Come out." He had already sensed it just now. Other than these 200 people, there was an even stronger aura hidden among them. His words, however, left Su Qingmei and the other 2 confused. Could there still be someone else? Just as the 3 of them were looking over in bewilderment. Suddenly, bam! The black Mercedes made a loud sound. The roof of the Mercedes-Benz was sent flying and landed heavily on the ground with a clang. Everyone saw an old man in black cloth clothes who was less than 1.7 meters tall and had long grayish-gray hair combed behind his head leap out and land steadily on the ground. This old man was the ace in the hole, trump card that Jiang Tianlong had sent out this time, sleeve blade Xia Ziyuan. Xia Ziyuan placed his hands behind his back and walked towards Yang Luo step by step. When he was 10 meters away from Yang Luo, he stopped. "Elder Xia, this kid is very strong. You have to be careful." Gao Jinhu coughed up a mouthful of blood as he reminded him. "Strong." Xia Ziyuan sneered and stood with his hands behind his back. He said proudly, "No matter how strong he is, he can't be stronger than me." As he spoke, Xia Ziyuan looked up at Yang Luo and said indifferently, "Young man, you do have some ability. More than 200 people are actually not your match." Yang Luo met Xia Ziyuan's gaze and said, "These guys are just a group of trash in my eyes. No matter how much trash there is, aren't they in the end still trash?" Hearing this, Gao Jinhu and the others were so angry that they wanted to go up and crush Yang Luo's bones and scatter his ashes. However, when they thought of Yang Luo's terrifying combat strength, they did not dare to say anything. They could only place their hopes on Xia Ziyuan. "Kid, you're really arrogant. However, no matter how arrogant you are, you can only submit to me." Xia Ziyuan's face was filled with contempt as he said in a sonorous voice, "Kid, I'll give you a chance to commit suicide to apologize." "Suicide as an apology? Why should I?" Yang Luo looked at Xia Ziyuan as if he was looking at an idiot and said, "Could it be because you're old? Because you're short? Because you're stupid? Bastard." Xia Ziyuan flew into a rage. I'm an expert on China's earth rankings. Sleeve blade, Xia Ziyuan. How dare you humiliate me? You should be punished for this crime. Earthly ranking expert? Yang Luo looked puzzled. What sort of ranking is this? Could it be that the people on the rankings are all idiots like you? Seeking death. Xia Ziyuan no longer cared about the demeanor of an expert. He roared angrily and waved his hands at the same time. Whoosh! Whoosh! The instant both fists met, two golden daggers whistled out of his sleeve, tore through the air, and shot towards Yang Luo. The two golden daggers shot at an extremely fast speed, like two golden lightning bolts, towards Yang Luo. This was Xia Ziyuan's specialty, flying knife technique. Gao Jinhu and the others immediately became excited. In their opinion, it was impossible for Yang Luo to dodge Xia Ziyuan's flying dagger. There were rumors in the martial arts world that Xia Ziyuan's flying dagger technique had long been practiced to the point of perfection. Once the flying dagger was used, there was no chance of survival. However, what surprised everyone was that Yang Luo did not move at all in the face of Xia Ziyuan's flying dagger. It was as if he was scared silly. Everyone felt that Yang Luo probably knew that he couldn't dodge, so he simply stopped dodging and waited for death obediently. However, just as everyone thought that Yang Luo was dead for sure, but suddenly, Yang Luo raised his right hand and grabbed at the air. The next second, Yang Luo grabbed the two golden daggers accurately in his palm. How is this possible? Elder Xia's flying dagger was actually caught by this kid. Wang Jingkoin exclaimed, his eyes filled with disbelief. The others also looked terrified. The scene before them had completely exceeded their imagination. Xia Ziyuan was also stunned. Clearly, he did not expect Yang Luo to actually catch his flying knife. That's it. Yang Luo shook his head and said, "What bullsh*** T Earth ranking expert? I think you're more like trash on the Earth ranking." Shut up. Xia Ziyuan's old face turned red. He roared angrily and waved his arms again. In an instant, whoosh, 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 golden daggers shot out one after another. There were a total of 34 of them, shooting at Yang Luo at the same time. Just as these 34 flying daggers shot over, Yang Luo's body trembled. A golden true qi surged out of his body and transformed into a true qi barrier that enveloped him. Ding, ding, ding. Accompanied by crisp collision sounds, all 34 flying daggers were blocked, shooting out dazzling sparks. Furthermore, not only were the 34 flying sabers blocked, but they were also restrained by the true qi that erupted from Yang Luo and stopped in midair. Upon seeing this scene, Su Qingmei and the other two widened their eyes and mouths. They felt that the scene in front of them was like a special effect of a movie. External release of true qi. You're really a Grandmaster Realm expert. Xia Ziyuan's eyes widened in shock. Although Jiang Tianlong had previously reminded him that Yang Luo was very likely to be a Grandmaster Realm expert, but he didn't believe it at all. How could a young man in his 20s be a Grandmaster Realm expert? But now, he had no choice but to believe it. This kid was really a Grandmaster Realm expert. The number of Grandmaster Realm experts at such a young age was countable by one's hands. Yang Luo smiled faintly and said, "Old fellow, that's not how you play with flying knives. I'll teach you how to use them." As he spoke, Yang Luo mobilized his true qi and waved his right hand. The two golden daggers in his hands shot out at the same time. The 34 golden daggers that had stopped in front of him also changed directions and shot towards Xia Ziyuan. A total of 36 flying daggers locked onto the various fatal spots on Xia Ziyuan's body. Moreover, what shocked Xia Ziyuan was the fact that Yang Luo's knife-throwing techniques were at least a notch higher. The strength was greater, the speed was faster, and the angle was more tricky. His specialty was crushed by Yang Luo. This made Xia Ziyuan panic. His entire body trembled, and his hair fluttered. Silver gray, true qi also erupted, condensing into a silver-gray wall of air that blocked in front of him. Dong, dong, dong. The 36 short golden daggers collided heavily with the silver-gray wall of air emitting loud bangs. Xia Ziyuan smiled sinisterly and said, "Kid, you're a Grandmaster Realm expert, and I'm also a Grandmaster Realm expert. Moreover, I've already stepped into the intermediate stage of the Grandmaster Realm. There's no way you can break through my defense." "Is that so?" Yang Luo narrowed his eyes and smiled before waving his hand again. In an instant, bam! The chi wall that Xia Ziyuan had condensed collapsed with a bang, turning into threads of turbulence that spread out. After destroying the air wall, the 36 golden daggers continued to shoot towards Xia Ziyuan without any obstruction. "Impossible! This is impossible!" Xia Ziyuan shouted in shock and kept dodging, wanting to avoid the attacks of these 36 golden daggers. However, no matter where he hid, the 36 flying daggers chased after him like maggots in his bones, inseparable. Ugh! Xia Ziyuan was not paying attention, and his arm was cut open. Blood flowed out. Arg! Before he could react, his thigh was also cut open, and blood spurted out. At this moment, Xia Ziyuan was frantically dodging, but the wounds on his body were increasing. It was so painful that he screamed repeatedly. Gao Zhenhu and the others were in despair. Xia Ziyuan was an expert on the Earth ranking, a Grandmaster Realm expert. Now, he was actually in such a sorry state and did not even have the strength to fight back. Could it be that this kid was really stronger than Xia Ziyuan? If that was the case, why was this kid's name not on China's Earth ranking? I'll fight you to the death." Xia Ziyuan roared and mobilized the true qi in his body. It gathered in his hands and continuously slapped out. Clang, clang, clang. The golden daggers were sent flying one after another, emitting a crisp sound of metal colliding. After sending these golden daggers flying, Xia Ziyuan kept charging forward and attacked Yang Luo himself. At this moment, Xia Ziyuan was already furious. He rushed up quickly. With every step he took, the ground would crack. It was incomparably terrifying. In an instant, Xia Ziyuan had already covered dozens of meters and jumped up high. He injected true qi into his right palm and slashed down fiercely at Yang Luo. His palm was surrounded by silver-gray, true qi, as if it had transformed into a knife that slashed at Yang Luo. However, Yang Luo was not afraid at all. He also mobilized his true qi and raised his right hand. He condensed a palm blade and faced the attack. Bam! The two palms collided with a muffled, thunderous explosion. It was like two sabers colliding, surging with turbulence and sparks. Xia Ziyuan originally thought that this palm could break Yang Luo's hand. However, what made him collapse was that Yang Luo's palm seemed indestructible and his all-out attack could not injure him at all. Ugh! Accompanied by a painful scream, the true qi lingering on Xia Ziyuan's right palm was broken. The flesh and bones of his palm were also cut open, and blood spurted out. Then, Yang Luo suddenly kicked out heavily. Bang! Xia Ziyuan was sent flying. His ribs were all broken, and his chest had caved in. He fell heavily more than 10 meters away. Yuge! He opened his mouth and spat out a large mouthful of blood. However, Yang Luo did not intend to let this old fellow off. Instead, he waved his hand. The 36 short golden daggers that had stopped in the sky instantly moved. They broke through the night sky and shot towards Xia Ziyuan. Xia Ziyuan was so frightened that his entire body trembled. He shouted in horror, "Kid, you can't kill me. If you kill me, my brother won't let you off. My brother is an expert ranked 8th on the Earth ranking. Once he finds out that I'm dead, he'll definitely tear you into pieces." Yang Luo said coldly, "It's best if your brother doesn't appear. If he dares to appear, he will end up like you." Right after he finished his sentence, puff, 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 36 golden daggers pierced into various parts of Xia Ziyuan's body. The most fatal ones were a knife in the heart and a knife in the throat. Xia Ziyuan's eyes widened in unwillingness, anger, and fear as he fell over. He was completely dead. He never expected that he, a dignified expert on the Earth ranking, would die to a nameless pawn. If he had to choose again, he would not have taken on the job at all. At this point, The masters ranked 62nd on the Earth ranking had changed owners. Yang Luo only looked at Xia Ziyuan indifferently. Then he walked in front of him and pulled out one of the golden daggers. As for killing Xia Ziyuan, he did not have any emotions. He would never show any mercy to those who wanted to kill him. However, the reason why Yang Luo did not kill Gao Zhenhu and the others was to give these guys one last chance to work for him in Jiang City in the future. Then, Yang Luo turned around and walked toward the car where Su Qingmei and the other two were sitting. At this moment, the entire event location fell into dead silence. They could only hear Yang Luo's light footsteps and their panting. It was too terrifying. It was really too terrifying. Xia Ziyuan, who was ranked 62nd on the Earth ranking, was actually killed just like that. Moreover, Xia Ziyuan had spent his entire life playing with throwing knives, but in the end, he actually died under them. This could be said to be a form of irony. However, this also let Gao Zhenhu and the others know how powerful Yang Luo was. What kind of terrifying existence had they provoked? Soon, Yang Luo walked to the car and knocked on the window. Su Qingmei, Qin Yimo, and Wu Yu, who were still in shock, suddenly broke off from their daze. Su Qingmei hurriedly rolled down the car window and looked at Yang Luo with a complicated expression. There was also a hint of unfamiliarity and fear in her eyes. Qin Yimo and Wu Yu looked the same. During this period of time with Yang Luo, he had always been cheeky, cynical, and indifferent to everything. Even though they had seen Yang Luo attack before, they had never seen him kill anyone. And today, they had personally witnessed Yang Luo kill someone. He was even killing an expert from the martial arts world. Looking at the three women's gazes, Yang Luo sighed in his heart. He also knew that what he had done tonight had traumatized them. He smiled gently and said, "I'm sorry for scaring you." Su Qingmei and the other two did not say anything and just looked at Yang Luo quietly. Yang Luo continued, "Assistant Wu, you drive. Hurry up and go home." "Yes, Mr. Yang," Wu Yu replied, and moved from the back seat to the driver's seat. "Then what about you?" Su Qingmei pursed her lips and asked. Yang Luo said, "I still have something to deal with." "Then be careful." Su Qingmei asked. "Don't worry." Yang Luo gave Su Qingmei a reassuring look. Then, Wu Yu started the car and left. After the car disappeared from sight, Yang Luo turned to look at Gao Zhenhu and the others. With just a glance, Gao Zhenhu and the others were so frightened that their hearts beat wildly. Their breathing quickened and they broke out in cold sweat. Was the inevitable coming? Was this kid going to kill them? They no longer had any intention of resisting. Even such a powerful Xia Ziyuan had died at the hands of this kid. What was the use of resisting? However, Yang Luo did not kill anyone again. Instead, he looked at Xiao Sudong and said, "You bring me to see Jiang Tianlong and the others." Gao Zhenhu and the others were stunned. What did he mean? Was this kid going to kill Master Long and the others? If little Xiao really did that, the sky in Jiang City might change. Xiao Sudong knew that he couldn't refuse, so he walked to a car and opened the door. He raised his hand and said, "Mr. Yang, please." After Yang Luo got into the car, Xiao Sudong also got into the car, started the car, and left. It was midnight. Dragon Bay Manor. The main hall of the manor was brightly lit. The presidents of the four major chambers of commerce in Jiang City, Jiang Tianlong, Su Yaoqiang, Feng Haidong, and Zhong Lingyun, were anxiously waiting for the results of tonight. A few hours ago, they received news that Gao Zhenhu and the others had already taken action. But until now, he had not received a single call. Therefore, they did not know what the outcome would be tonight. They did not know if Yang Luo had been eliminated. Su Yaoqiang looked at his watch and said uneasily, "What's going on? It's already midnight. Why hasn't there been any news?" Feng Haidong also frowned and said, "That's right. It's been a few hours. Don't tell me they failed." Zhong Lingyun did not say anything, but she felt a little uneasy. She recalled the scene when she fought with Yang Luo back then. That kid was really very strong. Even if the Earth-ranking expert, Xia Ziyuan, made a move, could he really kill that kid? Although Jiang Tianlong was also a little worried, he did not show it on his face. He waved his hand and said, "Everyone, just relax. This time, we sent out more than 200 elites. Coupled with Elder Xia's help, even if that kid has 3 heads and 6 arms, he will definitely die." Su Yaoqiang, Feng Haidong, and Zhong Lingyu nodded, and the worry in their hearts lessened slightly. That's right. With more than 200 elites and old Xia, even if that kid was really a Grandmaster Realm expert, it was impossible for him to survive. Seconds ticked by. Soon, it was 1 in the morning. Su Yaoqiang said, "One still feel that something is wrong. I'll call and ask what's going on." As he spoke, Su Yaoqiang took out his cell phone and prepared to make a call. But at this moment, footsteps came from outside. Jiang Tianlong and the other 3 looked up. A figure walked over. It was Qiao Sudong. Seeing Qiao Sudong return, Jiang Tianlong and the others heaved a sigh of relief. Since Qiao Sudong was back, it meant that tonight's operation had succeeded. After Qiao Sudong walked into the hall, Jiang Tianlong hurriedly asked, "Sudong, how's the situation? Is that kid already dead?" However, Qiao Sudong did not reply. He only lowered his head slightly and remained silent. Feng Haidong urged, "Sudong, what are you doing? Hurry up and say it. The anxiety is killing me." Right after he finished his sentence, suddenly, swoosh, accompanied by an ear-piercing sound, a blood-stained golden dagger shot over from outside and nailed to the wall behind Jiang Tianlong with a thud. Jiang Tianlong, Su Yaoqiang, Feng Haidong, and Zhong Lingyun were shocked and hurriedly turned to look at the wall. Their gazes also locked onto the blood-stained golden dagger. Feng Haidong was first taken aback before he said excitedly, "Isn't this golden dagger Elder Xia's? Could it be that the kid had already been killed by Elder Xia? Elder Xia is back." Su Yaoqiang also nodded happily and said, "This golden dagger is Elder Xia's symbol. Elder Xia must be back. Don't think too much. That old man won't be able to come back." At this moment, a strong voice came from outside. Hearing this familiar voice, Jiang Tianlong and the other 3 trembled and looked outside at the same time. A thin and tall figure passed through the darkness and walked over step by step. The moment this figure walked into the hall, Jiang Tianlong and the others' pupils constricted and their bodies tensed up. Their faces were filled with disbelief. The person who entered the hall was none other than Yang Luo. "Dude, why aren't you dead?" Feng Haidong's face turned pale, and he could not help but exclaim, "You want to kill me with just those 200-plus trash and that old trash? Aren't you all too naive?" Yang Luo sneered and said, "As for that old fellow called Xia Ziyuan, he has already been killed by me." "Impossible." Jiang Tianlong shook his head vigorously. "Elder Xia is an expert on the Earth ranking. His cultivation level has already stepped into the intermediate stage of the Grandmaster realm. How could he have been killed by you?" Zhong Lingyun looked up at Qiao Sudong and asked in a trembling voice, "Sudong, Elder Xia is really dead?" Qiao Sudong nodded. In an instant, the entire hall fell silent, so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. The Earth-ranking expert, Xia Ziyuan, had actually been killed. This was too unbelievable. They couldn't believe it. However, Qiao Sudong had already nodded, so they had no choice but to believe him. Jiang Tianlong let out a long sigh and slumped into his seat weakly. "Kid, you've won. You can kill or torture me as you wish." Su Yaoqiang, Feng Haidong, and Zhong Lingyun also sighed deeply. They no longer planned to resist and prepared to face death. Even an expert like Xia Ziyuan had died. What was the use of resisting? Yang Luo looked at Jiang Tianlong and the others and said indifferently, "If one really wanted to kill you, you wouldn't have lived to this day." If it were in the past, they would definitely scoff at Yang Luo's words. But now they believed him. This kid really had the strength. "Then why did you let us go time and time again?" Jiang Tianlong asked in confusion. Yang Luo said, "Because I want you to work for me. You are the leaders of Jiang City and are very familiar with Jiang City. As long as you work for me, there are many things that I don't have to do personally." Jiang Tianlong gritted his teeth and said, "We're only loyal to King Jinan. To serve you, that's impossible. You'd better kill us. Hee hee, you still have some backbone." Yang Luo chuckled and changed the topic. That's why one asked you to inform King Jinan to come to Jiang City to see me. After a pause, Yang Luo's eyes turned cold as he continued. This is the last chance I'm giving you, and also the last warning. Get King Jinan to see me. If you don't do as one say, I'll completely destroy you. With that, Yang Luo turned around and left. Even after Yang Luo had completely walked away, Jiang Tianlong and the others still did not recover from their shock. Yang Luo's words still echoed in their ears. There was a long silence between the both of them. Jiang Tianlong took a deep breath and said to Qiao Sudong, Sudong, tell me about tonight's situation. Qiao Sudong did not hide anything and told Jiang Tianlong and the other three what had happened tonight. As Qiao Sudong narrated, the expressions on the faces of Jiang Tianlong and the others changed constantly. They felt their hearts skip a beat. By the time Qiao Sudong finished speaking, Jiang Tianlong and the other three were already completely lost. The four of them took a while to recover. Master Long, make a decision. What should we do now? Su Yao asked. Feng Haidong, Zhong Lingyun, and Qiao Sudong also looked at Jiang Tianlong. Jiang Tianlong was silent for a moment before saying in a deep voice, Old Su, Old Feng, Sister Zhong, let's immediately book a plane ticket to Peng City to meet King Jinan. Are we really going to invite King Jinan over? Su Yaoqiang frowned. Jiang Tianlong sighed and said, that's the only way. I'm afraid only King Jinan can suppress that kid now. The next day, inside Hua, Mei Biomedical, Su Yin was busy handling documents. Meanwhile, Yang Luo sat in his seat and closed his eyes to cultivate. Last night, he learned that there was actually a ranking list like the Earth ranking in China's martial arts world. Although Xia Ziyuan was very useless, it did not mean that the martial artists on the Earth ranking were all useless. There must be true experts hidden. Therefore, he planned to increase his cultivation and strength as soon as possible to become stronger. Only when he became strong enough could he not be afraid of all experts. But at this moment, knock, knock, knock. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Yang Luo woke up from his cultivation. Please come in. Su Yin replied. The door was pushed open and a female employee rushed in. Su Yin asked in confusion, Sister Wang, why are you in such a hurry? Did something happen? The female employee called Sister Wang turned to look at Yang Luo and said, Assistant Yang, there's an old man outside. He's aggressive and wants to challenge you. Hurry up and take a look. Old man? Challenge me. Yang Luo was stunned. Sis Wang replied, That's right. That old man said he wanted to challenge you and asked you to quickly go out and meet him. All right, 1 foot 11 inches, go take a look. Yang Luo nodded and walked out of the office with a stomach full of doubts. Su Yin and Sister Wang quickly followed. When he arrived at the office, he saw many employees surrounding an old man and whispering. Although this old man was not tall, he was wearing a long green robe and had short grayish-white hair. He was wearing a pair of black cloth shoes and looked a little old-fashioned. However, although this old man looked old, his face was rosy and his eyes were lively. He looked very energetic. The old man glanced at the people around him and said loudly, Where's that kid called Yang Luo? Why isn't he out yet? Could it be that he's afraid of me? Who's afraid of you? I'm here now. Yang Luo pursed his lips and said before striding over. The old man looked at Yang Luo and sized him up, his eyes filled with confusion. You're Yang Luo? That's right. Yang Luo nodded in reply. How can you be so young? The old man frowned and asked, Is there anyone else in your company called Yang Luo? No, I'm the only one called Yang Luo. Yang Luo shook his head and asked, Old sir, who are you? The old man raised his chin and said proudly, My surname is Han, and my name is Sholi. I'm one of the 4 divine doctors in Jiang City, the bone-setting king. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone present was instantly in an uproar. Heavens, this old man is actually the bone-setting king, Divine Dr. Han. Divine Dr. Han is a famous divine doctor in Jiang City. His hands can turn something rotten into something magical. No matter where your fracture is, Divine Dr. Han can help you reattach it immediately. That's not right. Why would Divine Dr. Han challenge Assistant Yang? Could it be that Assistant Yang also knows medicine? Everyone present discussed spiritedly, feeling very puzzled. Hearing Han Shouli's self-introduction and everyone's discussion, Yang Luo was enlightened. Yang Luo cupped his hands and smiled. So it's Divine Dr. Han. I've heard a lot about you. Han Shouli waved his hand and said, All right, kid, don't stand on ceremony. I came here today to challenge you. Challenge me. Yang Luo had a strange expression. Why? Han Shouli said, A few days ago, Old Huang and Old Chao called me and said that there's a divine doctor in Jiang City. Not only is he good at acupuncture and Chinese medicine, but he also knows how to set bones. Moreover, Old Huang and Old Chao even said that this divine doctor's bone-setting technique is above mine. I'm very unconvinced. Therefore, after I returned to Jiang City last night, I decided to challenge you today. There can only be one bone-setting king in Jiang City, and that is me, Han Shouli. Come, let's compete and see whose bone-setting technique is better. Yang Luo was speechless. Huang Tian and Chao Jixing, these two old men, found trouble for me. Yang Luo said helplessly, Elder Han, forget it. Let's not compete. I admit that you're the bone-setting king of Jiang City. No, I can't let it go. Han Shouli waved his hand and said stubbornly, We have to compete today. Yang Luo didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He had seen all 4 divine doctors in Jiang City. It had to be said that the 4 divine doctors had their own personalities. Yang Luo, what happened? At this moment, Su Qingmei walked over. When she heard the commotion outside, just now, she ran out. When she saw so many people gathered together, she was shocked and thought that something serious had happened. Yang Luo said, President Su, this is Divine Dr. Han, one of the 4 divine doctors in Jiang City. He came over today to challenge me and compete with me in bone setting. Hello, Divine Dr. Han. Su Qingmei greeted him respectfully and said, Divine Dr. Han, this is an office setting. If you compete with Yang Luo in medical skills here, I'm afraid it will hinder everyone's work. Why don't we forget it and compete in the future? We can't let it go. We have to compete today. Han Shouli shook his head and said, Don't worry, it won't take too long. It won't delay your work. Su Qingmei didn't know what to do either. Han Shouli was a famous divine doctor in Jiang City and was highly respected. She couldn't just chase him away. Kid, are you going to compete or not? Don't tell me you're afraid of me. Han Shouli glanced at Yang Luo and began to goad him. Yang Luo only wanted to send this old man away as soon as possible. So he said, Elder Han, since you want to compete, let's compete. Tell me, how do you want to compete? Han Shouli thought for a moment, then glanced at everyone present and asked, You people who sit in the office for a long time should more or less have cervical spondylosis, shoulder periarthritis, and other problems, right? That's right, Divine Dr. Han. Our backs ache every day. There's something wrong with my cervical spine. It hurts like hell. Everyone chimed in and nodded repeatedly. Han Shouli said, Those who feel that they have cervical spondylosis and shoulder periarthritis, please step forward now. For a moment, other than Su Qingmei, everyone else stood up. After all, these were all occupational diseases. Almost everyone who sat in the office for a long time naturally had these problems. Su Qingmei originally had cervical spondylosis, but when Yang Luo massaged her previously, he had already treated her. Han Shouli counted and said, Kid, there are a total of 38 people with cervical spondylosis and shoulder periarthritis. Now, let's compete and see who can cure more people of cervical spondylosis and shoulder periarthritis in half an hour. How about it? Do you dare to compete? Yang Luo shrugged and said, Why wouldn't one dare? He felt that this competition was not bad. If they could cure everyone's shoulder and neck spondylosis and shoulder periarthritis, everyone will be able to work more efficiently in the future. When everyone present learned that they could treat cervical spondylosis and shoulder periarthritis for free today, they were all happy. More importantly, it was a huge honor for them to personally receive Divine Dr. Han's treatment. Yang Luo shook his head and said, Elder Han, no matter who wins or loses today, the title of Bone Setting King will still be yours. I don't care about these titles. You're quite interesting, kid. A look of admiration appeared in Han Sholi's eyes as he continued. Kid, regardless of whether you care or not, as long as I lose, the title of the Bone-Setting King will be yours. Also, during the competition later, we have to use our true strength. We can't go easy. Otherwise, this competition will be boring. All right. Yang Luo nodded in agreement. Su Qingmei smiled and said, Then I'll help you count the time. There wouldn't be any danger in this competition. It was considered an employee's benefit, so she was naturally happy. Then, Su Qingmei took out her cell phone and turned on the timer. After adjusting the time, Su Qingmei shouted, The countdown begins. As soon as her voice sounded, Han Sholi walked to a bespectacled man and asked, Were you feeling unwell? The bespectacled man was a little flattered and said, Divine Dr. Han, one feel a little uncomfortable in my neck. Han Sholi nodded and said, Sit down first. The bespectacled man nodded and sat down in a chair. Then, Han Sholi stretched out his hands and pressed down on the bespectacled man's neck, using his unique skill, the 18 yin-yang hands. Han Sholi had learned this set of bone-setting techniques from an ancient book. After many years of research and practice, he had already perfected this set of bone-setting techniques. Yang Luo did not immediately begin to treat him. Instead, he watched curiously as Han Sholi used the 18 yin-yang hands. At this moment, Han Sholi used the first 12 hands of the 18 hands of yin and yang. These 12 hands were touch, catch, in, lift, push, take, press, touch, point, push, extend, and press. Although everyone present could not understand it, they still felt that it was very magical and exclaimed repeatedly. Yang Luo nodded. This old man was indeed capable. Crack, crack, crack. As Han Sholi performed the bone-straightening technique, the sound of bones rubbing sounded, making one's teeth ache. In less than a few minutes, Han Sholi retracted his hand and said, All right, get up and exercise your neck. That's it. The bespectacled man was skeptical. He stood up and stretched his neck. A pleasantly surprised expression immediately appeared on his face. It doesn't hurt anymore. My neck doesn't hurt anymore. It seems to have completely recovered. D***MN. He's indeed a divine doctor. He's fine just by pressing a few times. With Divine Dr. Han around, it looks like our old problems can be cured today. Everyone present was overjoyed. Yang Luo looked at Han Sholi and said, Elder Han, the 18 yin-yang hands you used is indeed very powerful. However, if we can improve the strength of the technique, as well as the time pause between each hand, it should be better. After a pause, Yang Luo asked again, Also, you should still be 6 moves away from using the 18 yin-yang hands, right? Do you know the 18 hands of yin and yang? Han Sholi glanced at Yang Luo in disbelief. One had to know that this 18 yin-yang hands was his unique skill. Not many people knew it. Yang Luo smiled humbly and said, A little. Then tell me, which 6 hand are the last 6? Han Sholi asked. Without any hesitation, Yang Luo said the 6 hands at the back are straighten, tug, clench, rub, shake, and vibrate. Han Sholi was shocked. How did you know? He was the only one who knew the last 6 moves of the 18 hands of yin and yang. Even Huang Tian, Chao Jixing, and Sunborn had not learned it. Yang Luo touched his nose and said, Elder Han, not only do I know, but one also know the complete 18 hands of yin and yang. The Immortal Doctor Classics had a complete record of the 18 hands of yin and yang. He had long learned it. Han Sholi still did not believe him and said, Kid, anyone can brag. If you have the ability, show me. The difficulty of the 18 hands of yin and yang lay in the 6 moves at the back. Even if he knew the 6 moves at the back, he could not use them. It was because the ancient book he read didn't have any records of the last 6 hands. Therefore, in his opinion, the last 6 moves should have been lost. It was impossible for anyone to know them. All right, then I'll try. Yang Luo nodded in agreement. Then, he looked at a baby-faced girl with short hair and said, Beauty, your shoulder shouldn't be feeling well, right? That's right. The baby-faced girl nodded repeatedly and said in surprise, Assistant Yang, you can even tell? Actually, very few people in the entire Hua Mei Biomedical knew that Yang Luo knew medicine. Therefore, when Han Sholi suggested competing with Yang Luo in medical skills, they were both surprised and curious. Yang Luo smiled and said, Chinese medicine emphasizes 4 diagnosis methods: watch, smell, ask, and touch. Observation is the most basic method. Then can you cure me? The baby-faced girl quickly asked. Of course one can. Yang Luo nodded and said, sit on the chair and leave it to me. The baby-faced girl was skeptical, but she did as she was told and sat in a chair. The other employees looked at Yang Luo one after another, wanting to see if Yang Luo could cure the baby-faced girl. Han Sholi also looked over. He also wanted to see if this kid really knew the 18 yin-yang hands. Soon, Yang Luo began to use the 18 hands of yin and yang to massage the baby-faced girl's bones. Moreover, Yang Luo even mobilized the true qi in his body in order to treat the baby-faced girl as soon as possible. At first, Han Sholi did not believe it, but when he saw Yang Luo really use the 18 yin-yang hands, he was immediately stunned. This kid really knew the 18 hands of yin and yang, and he was so familiar with it. After a while, Yang Luo used the first 12 moves. Then he began to use the 13th, 14th, and 15th moves. As Yang Luo displayed his technique, the baby-faced girl felt her shoulders warm and a comfortable expression appeared on her face. How is this possible? Han Sholi could no longer suppress the excitement in his heart and exclaimed. Because he was too excited, his entire body began to tremble. This kid really knew the 18 hands of yin and yang, and he even used the last 6 moves. Wasn't the last 6 moves long lost? Where did this kid learn them from? Han Sholi was so excited that his face turned red and his breathing quickened. He stared intently at Yang Luo's hands and did not even dare to blink. He wanted to learn the other 6 hands. However, the last 6 moves were too complicated. He could not learn them in a short period of time. In less than 3 minutes, Yang Luo retracted his hand and said, Beauty, get up and stretch your shoulders. Oh. The baby-faced girl nodded and stood up to move her shoulders. All right, it's completely healed. My shoulder doesn't hurt at all. Thank you, Assistant Yang. Your medical skills are really amazing. The baby-faced girl was extremely excited and thanked him repeatedly. At this moment, the employees who were originally skeptical of Yang Luo completely believed that Yang Luo knew medicine. Assistant Yang, quickly treat me. My neck is not feeling well. Treat me first. Treat me. My waist is not feeling well. Don't you men have any gentlemanly manners? Can't you let the girls go first? The employees swarmed forward like a swarm of bees, wanting Yang Luo to help treat them. Yang Luo was caught between laughter and tears. He said, Don't be anxious. One by one, in the following period of time, Yang Luo used the 18 hands of yin and yang to treat the employees one by one. Moreover, when Yang Luo executed the last 6 moves, he deliberately slowed down so that Han Sholi could see more clearly. Although this old man was a little stubborn, his spirit of specializing in Chinese medicine was admirable. Therefore, Yang Luo also intended to teach him the next 6 moves. After treating the 6 employees, Yang Luo turned to look at Han Sholi and said with a smile, Elder Han, we're in a competition now. If you don't start the treatment soon, I'll win this competition. When Han Sholi heard this, he immediately reacted and began to treat his employees. Yang Luo stood at the side and observed, giving Han Sholi pointers from time to time. Under Yang Luo's guidance, Han Sholi felt that he became more proficient and skilled in using the 18 yin-yang hands, especially the last 6 moves. He had only learned 30% of them, but under Yang Luo's guidance, he gradually got familiar with the last 6 moves. Han Sholi's mental state also underwent a huge change. In the beginning, he did not believe that Yang Luo knew anything about bone setting, but now, he completely believed it. Moreover, he also felt that Yang Luo was many times stronger than him in bone setting. At this moment, he no longer had any doubts about Yang Luo. There was only respect. After Han Sholi treated 6 employees, Yang Luo also began to treat the rest. Seconds ticked by. One by one, the employees were completely cured. After the two of them cured the last employee at the same time, Su Qingmei shouted, "Time's up." Su Qingmei smiled and said, "Yang Luo, old Han, one did some calculations just now. In half an hour, each of you cured 19 people. In other words, the two of you are even in this competition. Miss Su, don't mock this old man." Han Sholi waved his hand and said, "I lost this competition." Su Qingmei said in a strange tone, "Old Han, you didn't lose. The number of people you treated is as many as Yang Luo's. A loss is a loss. I, Han Sholi, am not a sore loser." Han Sholi shook his head and said, "Just now, after Mr. Yang treated the 6 of them, he purposely stopped to wait for me. He only started to continue treating them after one caught up. Actually, I've already lost at this time." After a pause, Han Sholi continued, "Also, not only does Mr. Yang know the complete 18 hands of Yin and Yang, but his attainments in bone setting are far higher than mine. He beat me in my area of expertise. One lost wholeheartedly." Hearing this, the admiration in Yang Luo's heart increased. Han Sholi bowed deeply to Yang Luo and said, "Mr. Yang, thank you for guiding me on the last 6 moves of the 18 hands of Yin and Yang. Without your guidance, I'm afraid I won't be able to learn the last 6 moves in my life. Now one finally understand why proud fellows like Old Huang and Old Chow are willing to acknowledge you as their master. Your medical skills have already reached the peak. It's far from what we can compare to." Yang Luo smiled faintly and said, "Elder Han, you're too kind. Chinese medicine is broad and profound. In the field of Chinese medicine, I'm merely just starting out. Mr. Yang, if you're only a beginner, then us old fellows can't even be considered beginners." Han Sholi laughed and bowed to Yang Luo again. "Mr. Yang, I want to acknowledge you as my master and continue to learn the bone setting technique. One hope you can accept me as your disciple." Hearing this, they left behind a scene where everyone stood with their mouths agape. Oh my God, Divine Dr. Han actually wants to acknowledge Assistant Yang as his master. You have to know that Mr. Yang is an honored guest of all the big shots in Jiang City. Now, he's actually willing to acknowledge Assistant Yang as his master. If word gets out, how many people's jaws will drop? Assistant Yang usually hides the key facts. I didn't expect him to have such amazing medical skills. Everyone present spoke out one after another, looking at Yang Luo with even more admiring gazes. Yang Luo was, however, left speechless. "Elder Han, why do you want to acknowledge me as your master too?" Han Sholi chuckled and said, "Mr. Yang, haven't you already accepted Old Huang and Old Chow as your disciples? It's fine to take me in again, right? Moreover, not to mention me, even if Old Sun was here, he would still acknowledge you as his master after knowing your medical skills." "Old Sun," Yang Luo was stunned. "Are you talking about Mystic Dr. King Sunborn?" Yes, that's him." Han Sholi nodded repeatedly. "Why? Do you know Old Sun?" Yang Luo said in amusement, "2 days ago, Elder Sun also wanted to acknowledge me as his master." "Then did you agree?" Han Sholi hurriedly asked. "Not yet." Yang Luo shook his head. That's good. Han Sholi patted his chest and said, "If you had agreed to Old Sun first, one would have been ranked 4th. One was already very unhappy to be ranked behind Old Huang and Old Chow. I definitely can't be ranked behind Old Sun now." Yang Luo laughed dryly and said, "Elder Han, one don't think I've agreed to your request, right?" Han Sholi straightened his neck and said, "Mr. Yang, if you don't agree, I'll follow you forever." The corners of Yang Luo's mouth twitched. Fine, this old man actually started to act shamelessly. Su Qingmei smiled and said, "Yang Luo, why don't you accept old Master Han?" Well, just as Yang Luo was about to speak, a call came to his phone. He took out his phone and saw that it was a call from Tang Dexin. He picked up the call. "Mr. Yang, are you busy now?" As soon as the call went through, Tang Dexin's voice came through. "I'm not busy, Director Tang." "What's wrong?" Yang Luo simply replied. Tang Dexin said, "Divine Dr. Yang, a few patient situations are very dangerous now. One wanted to come over and take a look." Yang Luo looked helpless. As expected, it was not easy to be an honorary vice president. This guy now had the excuse to summon him whenever he needed help. However, since Tang Dasheen had called, he couldn't refuse, so he replied, "All right, I'll come over now." All right. Thank you, Divine Dr. Yang." Tang Dasheen thanked him and hung up. Yang Luo put away his cell phone and said to Su Qingmei, "President Su, Director Tang called and said that there are a few patients in the hospital who want to take a look. I'll go over now." "All right, go ahead." Su Qingmei nodded. Han Sholi hurriedly said, "Master, 1 foot 11 inches go with you." He did not care if Yang Luo agreed or not. In any case, he had to call his master first. Yang Luo shook his head in amusement and said, "All right, let's go together." "Okay." Han Sholi nodded happily. Then, the two of them left the company in a hurry. They took a taxi and went straight to the Central Hospital. At the same time, Central Hospital, in a large ward, 6 men in uniform, covered in blood and covered in wounds, lay on the hospital bed. Tang Dasheen and a group of attending physicians were examining the 6 men at this moment. Among the attending physicians, Li Haoyang was also among them. After all, Li Haoyang was a doctor of clinical medicine at Harvard University. His professional knowledge was not bad. After passing the interview, he successfully entered the Central Hospital. After the inspection, Li Haoyang said, "President Tang, these 6 patients don't have any vital signs anymore. It's better to quickly inform the patient's family to prepare for their funeral." Upon hearing this, the young man in uniform guarding the bed, who was covered in blood, said anxiously, "No, the officer Lei and the others won't die. Everyone, please take a good look and quickly treat Officer Lei and the rest. Please." Li Haoyang frowned and said, "Sir, we can understand your feelings, but these 6 patients indeed don't have any vital signs." "No, it can't be." The young man was a little agitated. He shook his head vigorously and said with a sobbing tone, "Officer Lei and the others became like this because they wanted to catch criminals. You have to save them. They can't die." Li Haoyang was getting a little impatient. "Sir, these 6 patients have multiple comminuted fractures all over their bodies. Their heartbeat and breathing is gone. They're already dead. Even a god can't save him. Please stop pestering him." "What did you say?" The young man roared angrily and rushed forward to grab Li Haoyang's collar, pushing him against the wall. What do you want?" Li Haoyang was so frightened that his voice was trembling. The young man said ruthlessly, "If you dare to spout nonsense again, I'll kill you." "Mr. Wang, don't be rash." Tang Dasheen hurriedly went forward to smooth things over and said, "I've already contacted the most powerful Divine Dr. Yang in Jiang City. If Divine Dr. Yang comes, the Thunder Bureau might be able to save them." Although he said that, he actually felt that these 6 patients could not be saved. These 6 patients had 70% comminuted fractures all over their bodies. Moreover, their heartbeats and breathing were indeed gone. They could already be judged to be dead. However, when he thought of Yang Luo's medical skills that could revive the dead, he wanted to try again. Only then did the young man let go of Li Haoyang. He looked at Tang Dasheen and said, "President Tang, why isn't Divine Dr. Yang here yet? Why don't I go over and pick him up?" Tang Dasheen said, "No need. Divine Dr. Yang is already on his way." "Fine." The young man nodded. Li Haoyang looked at Tang Dasheen and said, "President Tang, this is our hospital's matter. How can we always rely on outsiders? If the citizens of Jiang City find out, won't everyone question our ability?" A few days ago, at the Cloud Peak Hotel, he had lost all his face because of Yang Luo. Therefore, he had long hated Yang Luo. As long as he found an opportunity, he wanted to take revenge. Tang Dasheen frowned and said, "Divine Dr. Yang is not an outsider. He's the honorary vice director of our hospital." Li Haoyang said, "In the end, he's only an honorary director, not a real vice director. Moreover, he has such a high annual salary in the hospital and doesn't come to work every day. If other doctors find out, what will they think?" Tang Dasheen said angrily, "All right, stop talking." Although Divine Dr. Yang was only the honorary vice director, in his heart, he was the true vice director. Moreover, I was the one who agreed that he shouldn't be on duty. Seeing that Tang Dexin was about to lose his temper, Li Haoyang opened his mouth but did not say anything else. However, he did not believe that Yang Luo could really treat these 6 patients. These 6 patients were already in this state. How could they be treated well? After waiting for about 20 minutes, the ward door was pushed open and Yang Luo and Han Sholi walked in. Divine Dr. Yang, you're finally here. Tang Dexin hurriedly went up to him. When he realized that Han Sholi was also here, he was delighted. Divine Dr. Han, why are you here? Han Sholi said, just now Master was guiding me in the bone-setting technique. He knew that you needed help here, so he followed me. Tang Dexin looked surprised. Divine Dr. Han, you've also acknowledged Divine Dr. Yang as your master? Han Sholi nodded and said proudly, I just became his disciple not long ago. Sir, you're already so old. Don't be deceived. At this moment, Li Haoyang suddenly coldly interrupted. Han Sholi frowned. This is our new attending physician. Tang Dexin replied respectfully before scolding Li Haoyang. Dr. Li, this old man in front of you is one of the 4 divine doctors in Jiang City. Bone-setting king Han Sholi. Do you think Divine Dr. Han can be deceived? Divine Dr. Ian has naturally been conquered by Divine Dr. Yang's extraordinary medical skills. Li Haoyang was shocked. When he came to Jiang City, he had also heard of the 4 divine doctors. However, he did not expect this old man to be one of the 4 divine doctors. However, he looked down on Chinese medicine in his heart. He felt that Chinese medicine was just to fool people. It could not compare to Western medicine at all. Tang Dexin ignored Li Haoyang and pointed at the middle-aged man on the first bed. Divine Dr. Yang, Divine Dr. Han, this is Mr. Lei Guodong, Officer Lei of the Jiang City Police Station. The other 5 were subordinates under him. Please take a look and see if these 6 can still be saved. Han Sholi walked forward and took the pulses of the 6 men on the bed one by one. After taking his pulse, Han Sholi sighed and said, President Tang, these 6 people have completely stopped breathing. They can't be saved. Upon hearing this, the young man in uniform's eyes turned red. He choked and said, Divine Dr. Han, can Officer Lei and the rest really not be saved? Is there really no hope? Tang Dexin frowned and said, they got into this state because they want to catch a group of criminals who were selling forbidden goods. They are all heroes of Jiang City. It would be a pity if they left just like that. There's nothing I can do. Han Sholi shook his head. I've already said that these 6 people's breathing and heartbeat are gone. They can't be saved. Li Haoyang curled his lips and continued. Who said they can't be saved? At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded in the ward. For a moment, everyone's gazes turned to Yang Luo. Divine Dr. Yang, can they really be saved? Tang Dexin immediately became excited. Of course it's possible. Yang Luo nodded in reply. Han Sholi said in confusion, Master, these 6 patients no longer have any vital signs. Logically speaking, they should be dead. Yang Luo said, they are indeed dead, but it's only a pseudo-death. They're not really dead.